180 days, these fans have waited for today to arrive. Without it, life just isn't the same.
Yes.
They've tried to fill the void. They took a break, had time to relax.
Yes.
They've been festive and welcomed in the new year, shared the good times and enjoyed the sun. They tried replacing the footy and searched in vain for it. But still, something was missing. And all the while, the players haven't stopped. They've gotten stronger and faster, improving every day, spent countless hours in the gym and on the track, all in the pursuit of perfection. And now, the anticipation is rising in the air. For these fans, the summer of longing is over. For the game they love starts again tonight. It's back. Because for the next 7 months, they are at home again. Footy is back at the MCG.
There has been a massive build-up. Can Carlton bridge the gap on the great teams like Collingwood, Geelong and even Hawthorn of the last 5 years? They haven't been top four since 2000, but they're on the brink, you feel, running behind their great champion in Chris Judd on this fantastic night as we welcome you to the MCG as round one continues. I'm with Dennis Cometti. Huge crowd building up, Dennis. Can't wait for it. What are you expecting from round one?
Well, certainly a very exciting night, Bruce, no question about that. I suppose when you look at these two sides, both are expecting to improve. Last year we saw Richmond win 8 games up from 6 the previous season. Carlton won their first final under Brett Ratton. That was something as well. I'm having trouble looking at these two teams, working out just how Carlton are such warm favourites. A lot of injuries, their back line looks wafer thin, and of course they had a disappointing pre-season. Pre-seasons are about two things, fitness and confidence. It'll be interesting to assess their confidence levels, particularly early tonight. We'll find out more as this night wears on. Here's Lee Matthews.
Thanks, Dennis. You had a chat with Chris Judd last week. Always interesting to talk to Juddy. He said a few interesting things, but one really took my attention.
Sort of shame in the fact that Murph's our number one midfielder now, and he's become a really dominant player, and his contested footy, just watching how hard he works and how hard he runs. And not just him too, the load's really shared between Simpson and Scotland and Carazzo and Bryce Gibbs, and through that whole midfield, the groups have come a lot better, and personally it's been a lot easier to play in a group that's so even.
Yes, they've had a great midfield, and certainly when Judd and Murphy are now all Australians, that gives you a great group or great pairing for your midfield to build on. Scotland's good, Simpson's good, Curno's really hard in there, so's Robinson. But Mark Murphy, I think for the first time you could probably really ask the question validly, is he as good as Chris Judd? Certainly the coaches gave him the award last year. He's the reigning club championship, All-Australian for the first time, has become a wonderful player, makes it so much easier when there's two really high-class midfielders for the opposition to worry about.
Good on you, Lee, and out come the Tigers, who also boast a very, very impressive midfield. Nothing like a Tiger rising from the ashes, and you do feel like there's a rejuvenation in this great football club. I'm with one of their greatest ever, in Matthew Richardson. And Richo, there is a lot to like about the Tigers in 2012.
Yeah, there is. They've had a very, very solid pre-season. There's a lot of external expectation, but I know within the group they're keeping a lid on it.
Two debutants tonight in a team that, as I said, does boast a very impressive emerging midfield.
It does, and the two debutants, Stephen Morris there in the back pocket, son of a premiership player, hard, honest, experienced player from West Adelaide in the SANFL. Then you got Brandon Ellis, their number one draft pick, number 15 this year, classy finisher and hard at the ball. And then you've got the two recycled players, Adam Marriage from Melbourne, who's been good in the pre-season, and there he is, the big mullet. Don't we love that, Bruce? He is going to give them big, even Marrick. He's going to give them a good contest in the middle and hopefully give their midfielders first crack at it.
So there's the Tigers lineup. Let's hear from their coach. He's with Tom Harley. Tom.
Damien, we've heard you talk all week about controlling the controllables. What are you actually looking for tonight? Oh, just all the things we worked on over the course of pre-season. Obviously, a controlled ball movement, some defensive structures behind the ball, and we work a hell of really hard on our clearance technique work also. So, look, if we can get those three things out of the game, it's a reasonable result for us.
And we're led to believe a really great moment in the rooms with Kevin Morris presenting the jumpers. How important is that Richmond tradition?
Yeah, very important. It's something we try and encourage, and we want to get the great past players back to our footy club, and want them to come knocking on the door looking to get involved. So, look, it was a great moment. Not every day you get to present your own son with the jumper that you actually.
I've got to tell you, it is so good down here. Massive atmosphere building up. Huge crowd. Perfect night. Can't wait for the opening bounce. The Tigers and the Blues from the MCG.
It's Melbourne on a warm Thursday night for Richmond and Carlton. Impressive as we come down to the ground now, and our master of ceremonies, Craig Willis.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate the opening round of the 2012 Toyota AFL Premiership season, would you please welcome Richmond champion Matthew Richardson and Carlton champion Anthony Koutafidis to present the match ball to the umpires.
Thank Cooter. Best team win. Good luck, Chris. Have a good year, mate.
And would you now please join with the coaches, players and umpires as we stand for the Australian National Anthem, to be performed this evening by Jade McRae.
It is a massive crowd tonight. This is part 2 of round 1. Let's go down to Tim Watson with the Carlton coach.
Great night for footy. What was the last message you delivered to the players?
It was about focusing on the footy. I think with this crowd and the emotion, I think everyone can sort of, try and impose themselves on the game. But at the end of the day, we need to get our hands on the footy and try and control the game.
A lot of people have been breaking this game down. Is it as simple as whichever midfield gets on top wins this game?
I think it'll be a huge advantage. I think, with the new ruckman that they have, and with Cruiser in there and Hampson, hopefully we get an advantage in there, but the game will be won and lost in there.
Everyone's been talking about your weakened backline, but also I think Richmond's backline can be exploited tonight too. Is that how you read it?
Well, they've got one player over 50 games, so I think they're very exploitable, but I suppose in the end, if we don't get the ball down there, we're going to struggle a bit. So we have Gibbs and Laidler back in our back half, so we expect to get the ball out of there fairly quickly.
Who gets Jack Revolt tonight?
Henderson.
Good luck. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Toss of the coin, won by the Tigers. So, that's a good start. I reckon about 75, 80,000, gentlemen. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a big number. It's just such an exciting, when the first big game at the MCG for the year, there's a bunch. But the centre bounces, aren't they going to be so critical? Because really, that's where Carlton are really good. That's where Richmond has struggled a fair bit. And if you can, both sides might be a little bit vulnerable in their defences. So the centre bounce is going to be critical.
I really like the way Chris Newman goes about his work as captain of the Richmond Football Club. And you do get a sense, even Damien Hardwick before the game spoke about trying to instill that passion, about the Tigers of old, and really recruiting on character. We're talking about players like Morris and Ellis playing first games, and if they can get the ball up forward to Jack Revolt, we heard Tim talk about potentially Carlton being weakened down back. That's going to be a great advantage for the Tigers.
Interesting to note that Revolt booted 6 in round 1 last season. Jamison didn't play. Michael Jamison is out again tonight. So I think he's a potential match winner. Jack Revolt, 7 or 8, could win it for the Tigers. 7 or 8. It sounds easy enough. And of course, you've got the small forwards at the other end.
I think it's that speed overall. The one strength that Carlton have got the most, I reckon, is speed. Yeah, that bit to run the footy. That's a great strength they've got going forward.
So we see Jared Waite there at the top right. He's going to start forward for the Blues. Also Brett Thornton in there as a swing man. Chris Judd obviously in the middle. Tuck might get a run with roll there. And that's a tantalising matchup also. Deledio and Gibbs.
Henderson with the roll on Revolt. The umpires tonight, Donlan, Farmer and Meredith. Chris Donlan umpired last season's grand final. He's got the football now. We're underway at the MCG on what is a glorious Thursday night. Rucks go at it. Cruiser taps it down. Taken by Martin. He drives the Tigers inside the forward 50. Is it a mark to Miller? I think it might be. It's stuck.
A lot of vibe about Miller's been one of the real standouts in the pre-season after coming across from Melbourne the year before last. That's a good grab. Centre bounce clearance, marking the forward line. Pretty simple game if you can do that.
Well, I think the secret is when you're a veteran player, you get the haircut of a young man. And he's done that. He looks terrific.
It's 20 gone. Thank you.
So Brad Miller, former Demon, 35 metres out. Kick is on the way. It hangs out to the right. First score, not what he was chasing.
Let off the hook there, the Blues. It was Russell who was the free player, set himself up at the bounce. Really needed to kill the contest. Got to be better than that.
So a good chance missed there by Miller. But a great grab. Speaking of haircuts, Gibbs had the most kicks for the Blues last year, and that one down the line. Cruiser did well, just got rid of his man and then releases Garlick to Betts. He's got a paddock in front of him, weaving, and then caresses the football to half forward. Good evidence. Waite has collected him high.
It's sloppy.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'm reporting you for frontal contact, okay? Bring it back, bring it back. Just wait. I've reported him, okay, for rough conduct.
He is a recidivist, isn't he?
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Same corresponding game last year. He got himself reported also.
So Tuck in the back half. Grimes has picked himself up pretty well considering. Centre wings where Cruiser took the mark a moment ago, and again Cruiser building the ball forward. Just a little bit difficult. Tuck, so important in the clearances against Judd, releases Rance, and the Tigers get to centre wing.
Revolt's the target. Henderson with him. Ball struck Revolt. Working in front, Henderson hacks it out of the air. Here's a chance for Murphy. Breaking down towards half forward. Got a fickle bounce. Tackled strongly by Morris, and the ball is pushed across the line. So this man already on report. As they say in the classics, he didn't wait long.
Yeah, no. I thought he just ran into him head first.
That's the rule, though. I think he might be in a bit of
no, he's basically just stomach on. Not sure what Waite can do to get out of the way.
Forward of the wing. Carlton a half chance. Martin in the opposite direction, taken down, holding the ball. The umpires during the NAB Cup gave every indication they're going to be hard on that. Scotland close to the boundary line, kicks inside the forward 50, drifting back his post. He dropped it close to the boundary line. Over at Morris, could have been pushed in the back, trying to wrench it out of their weight, and running it across the line was Grimes.
Just thinking when that ball went to Rewald and Henderson would have been wanting to win that first contest. He won it, cleared the area. That's good for his confidence, I think.
Carlton attacking, Marriage at the back. Toe poke by Cochin, effective. Well done by Edwards, sort of broke the tackle in the end and then releases Jackson, and then Jackson has an airy. Tried to run it along the line, Jackson. Damien Hardwick had his contract extended along with a number of other players in the last couple of weeks, so the heat off the Richmond coaching situation for next year. Bauer, nice to see him back to Henderson. Lee and Tom talked about him a moment ago.
Henderson runs it up through the middle, penetrating kick inside the forward 50. Big punch away by Grimes. Lucks of fortune taken by Newman, goes down towards half forward. Vickery leads in the race. Closing is Laidler. He's got wonderful recuperative powers as Laidler. Did you see his knee a few weeks back and the ball's out of bounds? He dislocated his left knee in a battle of strength with Will Minson.
You get the sense early, Carlton.
Vickery's going to get a free kick. That was careless.
All you're going to do is lose it. Out you go.
So Vickery, no stranger to kicking goals. Seems to have fined down a bit too this year.
Geez, if that's it.
Is that it?
Certainly wasn't. I don't think it's above that.
Oh, that's
Still see
red.
jump.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Nothing in that.
Peggy Lee, is that all there is? Oldie but a goodie. Here's Vickery. He'll kick from about 35 metres out. And that's a beautiful looking kick. He puts it through. Richmond by 7.
Straight back.
Great confidence builder for the Tigers, and there's the celebration from Vickery. This is the important part about having Marich in the side. Vickery can spend some time forward, provide a second focal point to Jack Revolt.
So 36 goals last year, second only to Revolt. So good start for Vickery. Curnow copped a high one.
Advantage, advantage!
Heard the umpire. It was Simpson, no advantage in the end, and then Carazzo back to Curnow, and then Curnow belts it forward. Ellis, the youngster, the youngest guy out there, did well. Stood up and then puts the tackle on Gibbs.
Go through.
So Gibbs won a number of #1 draft picks here. We've got 4 in a row. Deledio, and then Murphy, and then Gibbs and Cruiser, all from their mid-2-0s. 4 of them out there tonight.
Really is the system on show tonight, Bruce, isn't it, when you see the redevelopment of the clubs who have spent considerable time down the bottom of the ladder.
Throwing Cochin a #2, Martin a #3 for the Tigers. So Cruiser over the top. Speaking of Cochin, releases Morris. He wasn't a #1, but he might play like one at times with his courage. Rants out wide. Henderson, good start for him so far. Takes Revolt on. That wasn't quite so good, and then Jack's got hold of him. In fact, he's gang tackled.
I reckon he'd enjoy that, Lee, having Revolt right up the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't kick goals from 100 metres away.
Henderson a bit stiff there. Hand passed away and the ball came directly back to him. Good thing the umpire saw it. Marich knocks it down. Carazzo. Down goes Cruiser. Stolen away by Foley. Edwards. The dash of Cochin hard against the boundary line. Goes down towards the 50. Running back with the flat of it, Miller. Oh, that was a terrific mark. Plays on quickly. Back to Foley. He's run a long way. 2 players to choose from. And he finds Grigg directly in front, 20 metres out.
That was a great defensive transition, wasn't it, really? They actually set up for that stoppage in the back pocket, were able to clear the ball out to the open field and just had the runners overlapping.
Foley involved behind the wing, I'd suggest. And then followed up to kick it to this man who kicks a goal. Good start by the Tigers.
Have a look at this massive crowd tonight. Must be around 80, maybe more. Expecting close to 90 tomorrow night for Collingwood and Hawthorn. Had a chance to talk to Wayne Campbell today from the Tigers. I said to him, what's the most important thing tonight? He said, to get a good start.
Yep.
We've got to get a good start, and they've got the first couple of goals. Judd, Laidler wide. Armfield takes the mark.
Right on it!
Ironically, Grigg, who kicked the goal, played with Judd in Judd's first game for the Blues against the Tigers.
Play on!
Henderson. It's the last time Richmond have beaten Carlton. It might be the omen. They have started. Well, that's a good kick. Tui. Laidler.
Thank you, play.
Bauer. Does he go short again? I think so. Robinson.
Just denying possession at the moment.
This has all just been across the middle of the ground. They haven't got 1 inch closer to goal.
So Robinson decides to load up. Hampson's his target. Marriage at the back. Garlett read it really well. Or was it Carazzo? Back to Rance. Post in trouble, gone. Oh. He was a post. Unmoving, wasn't he? And Betts goes bang.
You might be able to beat Garlett once, but when you try to take him on for the second time, that speed of Betts and Garlett, but the tackling speed is just as important as that offensive speed.
Inexperienced player. At a lower level, you get that second opportunity to come back and use the ball in board. And to Brett Ratton's comments before the game that they only have the one player over 50 games in their back half, and experience showed, or the lack of experience showed there on post. Important he does back himself in, though. He doesn't go into his shell as a young player.
Had a good nab cup. Not the best of starts right there. He needs to work on his handling and delivery. There's the bounce back in the middle. Ball falls behind the players who competed. Judd comes spilling out of the pack. Ball in front of him. Edwards tried to control it on the ground. Nothing much doing there. Big scramble, and the umpire calls for it.
Just interesting, there's just a slight difference in attitude of Richmond. Daniel Jackson, who's normally takes a specific tagging role, is sort of playing middle of the ground, looking to get back in defence, but not Murphy, not Judd. He's not chasing anyone around at this point.
Hampson, Marriage over the top Vickery. They double-teamed him. Scotland does well. Slips it away. Taken by Simpson. Searching kick inside the forward 50. Loose ball at the back. Back first is Grimes. Grimes along the boundary. Controlled the kick very nicely. Taken by Newman, the skipper. As we said before the game, 8 wins last season for the Tigers. 6 the previous season. High ball to the wing. Hampson will get a free kick. So a bit of a transition going on between the rucks here for Richmond. Vickery gave away that kick. Hampson sends it back inside the forward 50. Oh, well done, post. Keen to make amends and did exactly that, and will get 50.
That's great. Made a blue, cost a goal. First opportunity he's had again to influence the play. He stood under a pack and marked the ball.
Robbo giving away the 50.
Time back on.
I think he read his mind, but you can't read their mind without getting penalised.
So releases his captain, and then Newman quickly almost to the goal square. Revolt went early, then stayed down and dribbles it and misses. 4 operations post-season, Revolt.
Really good second effort player at ground level off the marking contest, Rewald. Henderson will really have to be alert there.
He talked about not being able to get in the gym much in the post, but being able to do a heap of running and get very, very fit. So straight down the centre. Simpson read it well. Now if he breaks Rance, he might break the Tigers here. He loves a running goal. He takes his full measure and then goes short brilliantly to Armfield, who puts the second on the board for the Blues. Transition footy, one end to the other.
Well, this is going to be an area of the game that Carlton are really going to trouble Richmond, particularly when they go forward. That speed. At the other end of the ground, we saw Revolt closer to goal. When he's been up the field, Henderson actually has been doing him for pace. I'd be positioning Revolt closer to goal against Henderson. I reckon that's where he's going to be able to do most damage tonight.
Tigers by 2 points. Cochin gave it to Greg. Kicks it down towards half forward. Crumbing in front of the pack is Marrick. He kicks it down towards full forward. And the ball goes out of bounds. Marrick had a good nab cup too. Comes from Melbourne. But he didn't kick goals in the NAB Cup and had quite a few opportunities. How he goes will depend on how he kicks. I think on the forward line can find the footy. There's no question about that. Nahas, another who can find the footy. Tackled. It spills towards Judd. Back it comes towards the big guy. Marriage tries to slap it out of there. Now Yaron's got it. Interesting. Marriage and Marrick, and the spelling is the same. White drives it long towards the wing.
Oh, Hampson got up very high. Tuck comes across in front of him. Back to Scotland. They're the two oldest guys out there, Tuck and Scotland. Hampson, he's got a good leap and can clunk a mark at times. That one, in the end, not quite as close as it looked first up. Edwards, well done. Martins, or Deledio, I should say, quick kick forward and then crashes and bangs his way and gets the ball going Richmond's way. Curnow, Carazzo, just the consistency. Took a long time, but goes the safety first way, went down the line. Sloppy handball by Newman, and then Tuck's handball cut off by Waite to Betts, and then Betts gets away from the tackler to Cruiser, to Judd, who switches it. Curnow gone. The first one didn't get him, it was the second one.
Yeah, it's a hot game. You might be able to evade one tackle, but certainly the second guy will get you.
Great pursuit. Martin, long ball to the 50, coming across Laidler. Got good support from Henderson, could have marked that footy, knocked across the line by Gibbs.
He never really understood the double fist punt. It's when you've got an opportunity for that, you should clunk the mark. But Ross Smith, from all accounts, has been really strong on defensive pressure, and you can see that early in the Tigers.
Has anyone changed their mind at the last moment and marked it between two fists? Here's Curnow, gives a hand pass across towards Henderson. He was hit by a teammate. We've got a whistle, and it's going to be a free kick, and it's going to the Tigers.
Time back on.
So Edwards.
Thank you. 5 metres.
He's been very lively.
Hold there, Mark.
Forcing the error.
Hold there, Brett.
And a chance to stretch the lead. Steps inside the 50. Kick is on the way. Got to kick those. Just have to. Behind.
What chance of another one straight down the middle? I think very little. You get away with them every now and again, but if you keep pounding them down the middle, the rebound goal is likely to be costly.
There's no one there for Carlton at the moment, as you can see on the screen.
Don't go to the well too often.
Thanks, Rob.
So they went short to Tui, and then it's a good kick by Tui. Gee, well done to Waite. Kicked it 45 metres. Kept it pretty low. Got there in a hurry. Such a big loss to Carlton last year, Waite, wasn't he, with the hip problems.
Oh, Daniel.
Simpson. So Simpson tonight playing his 145th consecutive match. Kicks the ball down the line. Missed there by Rance. And back it comes. Post. And that one close to the line and just, I think it's out on the fall. So back to Simpson. Back inboard to Gibbs, and then Gibbs winds it up with a long ball. Grimes sets himself with Post. Two Richmond players, and the ball just beats Garlett, and that's a hard thing to do, to outrun Garlett.
Look around. Edwards and Carazzo.
Done a very good job early, Richmond, hemming Carlton to one side of the field. They've been really protecting that open field, making Carlton kick down the line.
Boundary throw in. Marriage went to ground. No free kick. Lurking at the back is Cochin. Breaks away. Timed the release perfectly. From the line of the square, the defensive side of centre. Foley boots it down towards half forward. Bauer looking across the ground, nothing on, but now aided by a good shepherd from Henderson, able to find Judd. Had ample time. Judd goes across the ground. Here's trouble. It's 2 on 1 deep. It's 2 on 1 deep. He needs to go long. Garlett does. Dropping back is Rance, but the mark is taken by Waite. Oh, Rance had no hope.
He was there for a long time, Waite, and two Richmond defenders tried to get to him, but it's just that better. It's very hard for the defender coming in to try and spoil the marking contest. He can't jump front on, and Waite just held his ground.
We've got two back. You really need in that situation at least one of these two Richmond players to be man on man, then the second person come in as the third over the top.
So Waite, 25 metres out, splits the middle.
So the Tigers have had the lead basically from the start.
This is coming back into the middle end, going to the open field. That's the first time Carlton have been able to do it. That's when their speed really matters. You break open the defence.
So Marich to himself and then out of the centre. Nahas, haven't seen a lot of him, but it's very early and he's a busy body. And has he got the ball?
Fine. Trapped under both legs.
Only player yet to touch the footy, Nahas, other than the subs.
So Conker, here's the sub for the Tigers. And Lucas for the Blues. Yaron emerges. Simpson has been pretty busy. That's a clever kick. Carazzo couldn't quite. Tui, been impressive.
Clear here.
Now the Blues are on again to half forward. Carlton, Morris building it towards the line. What a thrill it must have been for him, for his father to have given him his jumper tonight. The same number that Kevin wore, best and fairest, a dual premiership player. He gave all the jumpers to the new guys tonight. Stephen, coming from West Adelaide in the last few years, where Kevin actually coached a few years back. Cochin finds the boundary line. So Carlton have done well here. They conceded the first two and they've kicked the last three.
Cochin, a lot of the footy so far. That wasn't his best effort. 6 possessions. Here's Thornton along the line. Judd juggles it, dropped it. Surrounded by Tigers. Delidio comes away, pumps it down towards the attacking 50. Offhand, it's going to be a free kick, I think, to Carlton for a push in the back.
Lockie Henderson for a push out. That's fine.
So Henderson. Net on the mark just inside the 50. Mark Murphy has made a slow start, just 2 possessions. Wonderful season last year. In front, Hampson follows the ball up, but then left it behind. Little 1-2 tuck and Cochin. Back-to-back possessions for Cochin. Onto the chest there of Marrick. Beautiful kick from Marrick. Well, I said he was having trouble kicking goals. Accuracy, not his problem there. Nahas, who can start with a goal. Tom kind enough to mention no possessions for Nahas, and Nahas has responded. Tom does that quite often, offers motivation. Powerful tool.
Good example of kicking skills, isn't it? Just 3 really good disposals on the way through from Richmond.
Here's Nahas. 25 metres out. Slots it. Coming up a great season last year.
Get an idea of this fantastic crowd. It's been a great start to this match. The Tigers were the first couple, and then Carlton getting the lead momentarily, and then Nahas went from 12 disposals to 19 last year. That's a massive leap, isn't it?
And I think having young Marrick come into the side provides another avenue for Nahas to work through the middle of the ground.
So Vickery doing the ruck work against Cruiser. Foley got it from Delidia and then torpedoes the ball. So Nahas front spot, she did well there. Trapped it in, gave an opportunity for Marrick. Simpson on the up, Yaron, good hands Yaron. Robinson played it well, back to Bauer. Bauer has to stop and prop a bit, and then on the left foot, nice kick, well weighted. Carlton did really well there under pressure. Curnow. And then Carazzo, a little scrubby, but Judd made it look good, and that's a lovely ball inside. Now Gibbs, well, had he loaded up, he might have gone all the way, but it's a clever kick to Hampson.
Good push up. He started actually loose man in Carlton's defence, Gibbs, at that last centre bounce. He looked like he was the spare, but smart enough to know they had possession to push up into the middle of the ground for the release.
Thank you.
He's actually been back there a bit through this quarter, hasn't he?
And it's important if you are that spare man that you get used, I should say, through the transition in the middle of the ground, and obviously use the ball well, and that's where Gibbs can be so valuable for the Blues.
So Hampson, no Warnock tonight. He's certainly good enough to be in Carlton's best 22. It's just the balance. That's a great looking kick off the boot, but just stayed the near side.
He's almost there, Bruce, isn't he? He almost clunks the mark. He almost kicks the goal. I think his development's tracking really well, but just not quite at that stage to really dominate.
Him or Vickery? Which, him or Vickery, Tom?
Vickery for mine.
Vickery, the best of the prospect.
He kicked 36 goals last year, Vickery, so he sort of he's had the one really big year where Hampson hasn't quite done that yet. They've had so many good big blokes, Carlton. You think of Jacobs in Adelaide right now.
Yep.
O'Halpin's up in GWS.
Yep. Foley gave it to Jackson. This is post, hard against the boundary line. Decides to come back, and they'll regroup. Grimes across the goal front, and the ball finds the grass, and as a result, Rance has got a problem. Tracks it out towards the boundary, right on the 50, gives it to Grigg. Grigg back to Rance, dangerous pass, well worked. Slips a hand pass away, pushing up the ground, it's Ellis. Goes in short, and the mark is taken by Marrick. Marrick into Mines. Grigg sent away on his left foot, goes down towards the attacking 50. Miller's in front, punched away. Well played by Bauer, and it's out of bounds.
Both teams playing a pretty similar style. I think Carlton obviously started using the ball off the line. Richmond had to go there. The fundamental difference at the moment is just the ball use.
Boundary throw in just outside the 50. Massive crowd, wonderful night. Barmy. Opportunity there for Jackson. Foley, Cochin. Well done by Russell. Now Nahas, always dangerous, looking for space there, trying to kick it out in front of Martin. Martin's over the football, stripped off it though. Carranzo does brilliantly to Gibbs. Hot potato, sends it across to Simpson.
Gee, they stood up well again, Carlton there. Yaron and Nahas. That would be a good race. Yaron with the footy, and Nahas did well. Yaron just kept it inside the line.
Yeah, Yaron likes to run with the footy. Everyone knows it. Nahas knows it, and he just kept at him. Forced the error. That's the kind of forward chasing speed you need.
Cruiser almost alone, down to Curnow, back to Simpson, that left foot, and then hustled and not deemed deliberate. So Brett Ratton down at ground level, as he so often is. Damien Hardwick up in the box tonight. Such a competitive opening term. Nothing much in it. Murphy to Gibbs, to Russell, to Gibbs again, and then Gibbs on the left, gets it almost to 50. Post held his ground really well, so did Thornton. Judd crashing and bashing, but the other captain gets hold of it, Newman. Oh, gee, Tuck put him under pressure. Judd and Tuck get involved. Newman gets it back, good contested footy on the up rants, well played. Stepping back, Jackson relieves the pressure.
High ball to the wing. Henderson over the top of Gibbs, and Revolt gets it out of bounds.
Great win for the Tigers there. That was a ball certainly in dispute. The captain got involved, settled the side down. Jackson cleared the ball. That's a positive confidence booster for the Tigers.
Cochin, 9 possessions. Gibbs with 8. Lead all comers on the ground. Martin falling to the ground to Jackson. Hurried kick beyond the wing. Across on the angle too. He did well, but dragged down from behind. Revolt. Quick hands Miller. Back inside Cochin. His 10th possession to a vacant goal square. Well, wide of it as it turns out. And bounces out of bounds.
She's had some disposals, Cochin, in this opening term.
He's generally really creative with ball in hands. If he's going to get big numbers, he's going to be real dangerous.
5 clearances.
Best and fairest of the club, like Murphy, sort of breaking through last year at that level. Cruiser, long ball out. Jackson and Simpson. Still Jackson. Simpson, good contest, well umpired. Thornton. Gibbs. Speaking about high possession getters, so much the general Gibbs is. He's like a bit like a quarterback. That's his 9th disposal. Kicks the ball to a contest at centre wing. Good stuff by Post again, and Jackson covering some ground. Underarm kick okay. Foley bangs it forward. Tui to try and cut it off.
Does pretty well too, aided by a good Shepherd. Henderson. Now Armfield, a dasher in defence. Speaking of which, can Yaron keep it in? He can. Not much up ahead. He needs some run from Hampson. Hampson runs hard. Rance gets there in front of him. Rance perhaps could have got a free kick. That was wonderful by Rance. Fearless. And it's out of bounds.
He just kept the front position. Rance, he was trying to get there, Hampson on the end of the kick.
And that's Dygan's great advantage for the Blues. We see him sitting up in the stand there.
Saw Andrew Walker in that group as well. They'll miss his goals tonight. They're in a real battle at the moment. Vickery gave it across to Grigg, who kicks a high ball down towards Tuck. It's fisted away by Bauer and goes out of bounds. 1:30 until quarter time on Thursday Night Football, and the Tigers lead it by 2.
Been a long time since they've beaten the Blues. Got away to a good start in any year, Richmond. Hurley broke it well. Now Delidio's quick, we know that. He runs in a bit of a zig and a zag. Now the goals are open. He goes over the top. Nahas leans back and misses what would have been a really important goal late in this term.
Real positive for the Tigers at the moment is their work around the clearance, and a good example there on the wing. They're on top at the moment, 15-8. Typically an area where the Blues have dominated the Tigers in the past, so Damien Hardwick will certainly be happy with that result.
Robinson to Scotland, coming off a stellar year, 4th in the club best and fairest, averaged 26 possessions a game, just beyond the wing, and Cruiser. Gee, strong hands there. Marriage made contact with the arms, but the ball would not budge. Matty Cruiser, long inside the forward 50. Clock is down at 36. They met at the football. It spills behind, a chance for Murphy. Murphy off the ground, misses to the right-hand side. Wants a free kick, nothing doing. 2 points the difference. 27 seconds out from quarter time.
Gee, interesting. So the youngsters got the ball from the kick in. First game.
Right on it. Thank you.
No worries there. So what an opening term in terms of disposals for Cochin. Goes short. He's had 11 disposals.
Just mentioned they've only gone inside 50 10 times, Richmond, for 7 scoring shots. So that sort of vulnerability in defence for Carlton's been borne out a little early.
Tigers only led 4 times at quarter time last year. So right now they're going to have the quarter time lead. Revolt a long way from home. And what a great opening to this match before a huge crowd on this balmy night. We'll be talking to Brent Ratton out of the quarter-time huddle, the coach of Carlton. So quarter-time here, it's Richmond 3-4-22, Carlton 3-2-20. This is Thursday Night Footy.
Well, the footy is back, and I can speak for all of us. We love it. And I'm joined now by the presenter of the balls, Matthew Richardson. Well done, Matty. You did that job very well. As we take a look at the scorecard, 2 points the difference. Tigers on top. Certainly the chase and tackling of both these teams in the first term has been terrific.
Well, you know it's round one, Dennis, because the intensity has gone up a lot from the NAB Cup, and particularly both teams have been tackling. You haven't got any time out there. It is hot. It is modern footy. As soon as you get the ball, you're going to be tackled if you don't dispose of it, and it's been outstanding by both teams in this first quarter.
Trent Cochin, 11 possessions. Are you surprised by what he's done so far? As we look at the examples of the tackling first before we get on to Trent.
Well, this just shows you in defence, once you get the ball, you have to dispose of it because you will get tackled. And Jeffy Garlett there taking down Jaden Post. This is a midfield one. Missed the first tackle, Trent Cochin. Dustin Martin comes in with a second. And this last one is Shane Edwards. Tackle intensity has been great. And we'll head down to Tim Watson on the boundary line.
Here with Brett Ratton and Rats. We talked about the importance of the midfield battle pre-game. How did you read it in the first quarter?
I thought they got on top in stoppages. I think Cochin really got his hands on the ball and gave him some great drive from there. But, you know, we went inside 15 times and couldn't score. They've got a lot of numbers down there and they're really protecting the down-the-line play. So hopefully we can get it to the open side.
Do you need to shut Cochin down?
I think we've changed that now and we've gone for Carrazzo now on Cochin just to dull his influence anyway.
Cheers.
Good on you.
Well, the danger going the other way is Carrazzo can find the footy, can't he? I think he's got a 44 against the Tigers.
No doubt. He's a two-way player, Carrazzo, and if he's going to Cochin now, they probably did have to do something about that matchup. Cochin's had the 11 disposals, been very dangerous around the stoppages because of the big fella there. Big Marek has given them first use in the ruck, and that's something they really looked for over the pre-season, Dennis.
And the good news for the Blues is they've got Mark Murphy waiting in the wings. Just a few possessions so far, yet to go off.
Both teams do have a little bit of depth in the midfield there, and you know this man, he's super fit, he's an all-Australian player. You know that he'll come to the fore as this game progresses.
Okay, second term, let's go again. 2 points the margin. Umpire Farmer's got the footy. Here's Bruce.
As we do start the second term here. So Carrazzo to Cochin, you've just been told, and there they are immediately. So Carrazzo wins to Gibbs to Scotland. Armfield chasing hard. Jackson got really busy in that opening turn. Yaron and Nahas, we've already seen a couple of good speed battles with those two players. And then Yaron had a bit of an airy.
Free kick Richmond, tuck. Play on advantage.
So you heard the umpire, free kick Richmond, but the advantage given. And not much of a scrubby kick, actually. And Scotland, wonderful stuff by Martin. And then Martin brought down with a great tackle by Robinson. And then Carazzo just eludes Jackson. Plays a bit of a magician's trick at the end to find some space. And then Robinson with a penetrating kick to fall forward. And Thornton takes a beauty. Now, he's a good kick, Thornton.
Just the advantage of the front position. The ball just fell into his chest. But if you're in front, those short kicks will fall into your chest.
Do you like Carazzo under Cochin? I mean,
yeah, I do. I think he's got a defensive mindset first and foremost, and we saw in that first centre clearance he knows his way around in traffic also.
As far as goal kicking is concerned, Thornton's had the odd breakout match where he's come up with surprising numbers, but he is a very accurate kick. He is the real swing man, isn't he? Both ends of the ground. As he brought it back, not quite, always just to the near.
So often the case, just on that mark between, say, 48 and 53 3 metres, where the player just hooks to get that extra yardage. And that was Thornton's problem there.
Hooley goes very short. Spilling the ball is Greg. He slaps it back towards Hooley. Hooley was cool. Oh, too cool was Grimes. Now an opportunity for Betts over the top in mid-air. Tried to do a Jeff Farmer there, did Jeffy Garlett, and missed it. Bounced through for a behind. Oh, the Tigers living dangerously. So Greg, who dropped the mark, decides he'll kick it in now. Well done by Grimes across the boot. Greg, the high ball. Get under that. Off hands, it falls behind. Foley is outnumbered. Stayed on his feet. Well done by Foley. But the weight of numbers tell the story. Gibbs taken down after Robinson knocked it to him. And we've got a ball up. In fact, it's Tui in that pack.
To that sort of press-up defence to defend the kick in. If you go short into the back pocket and make an error, you are really paid out.
Tuck. Cruz through, missed the footy. Cruz has got it. Kicks inside the forward 50. Thornton comes up being held by Grimes. He's going to get the free kick directly in front, about 25 metres out.
Back here. Arms around him, he's trying to run forward, it's a hole. Brett. Yep.
Umpire Donlan setting the mark, as I mentioned earlier. Grand final umpire last season. So certainly one of the best we've got going around. Thornton very animated. Grimes very dejected on the mark. This to break the deadlock then. Thornton comes in and kicks into the post.
Well, it's even up. Richmond missed a couple of sitters, so's Carlton, so I guess the karma's been even.
So Thornton, just the 21 goals he's played down back nearly all of his career, but 13 of those in season 2011. So Newman going again for depth. Vickery was his target. Post gets the ball back to Grigg, and then Grigg off a step, bangs the ball to centre wing. Bauer, Miller, both players hold their feet importantly. Still Bauer, Miller bashes the ball forward. Yaron, still with Yaron. Henderson just needs the right bounce, didn't quite get it. Nahas to worry him. Henderson to try and put some pressure on Foley, off a step. Heard the umpire. Nahas paddles the ball forward. Miller, little give, revolt. Is he within range? He belts the ball, and a bit sloppy in the end. It's a behind.
A few Richmond players with hands in the air. He didn't really take that split second to see if there was a better option on.
7 behinds in a row in this game now. 5 to Carlton, 2 to Richmond. Here's Murphy across half back. Goes to Gibbs, sporting the new haircut as well. That's fashionable.
Thanks, Daniel.
I'm sure his mum Julie had to sign off on that. She's the boss in the family.
What do you call it, Dennis, that style of cut?
I think it's a corporal cut. I'm not sure, though. I spoke to a man who generally knows about haircuts today. He said corporal. As the ball comes down towards half forward. You better be right, Tom. Ellis hand passes towards Curnow. Taken by Foley. Coming through Curnow over the top to Armfield. Throws it on the boot. Kicks it down towards the attacking 50. Drifting back, Marriage takes the mark. So Marriage plays on immediately. U-turn by Newman to Grimes. Grimes, well, he's chancing his arm down there and does okay. Now Grigg. He kicks into the oncoming Garlett and the ball ricochets out of bounds. Well, not sure what you would call their defence at the moment, but they're sharing the footy around.
Under pressure for a moment there, weren't they? It's probably a good result. They have no one up in front. Marriage did well there to Greg, and it was Cochin early that got it to Marriage. Vickery, Laidler held his ground. Revolt worries him out. Good handball to space. Vickery's already kicked one. He's about to kick two. Oh, no.
Oh. Holding Shepherd.
Yes, she's on it for hold. Time back on.
So Nahas hanging on to Yaron and Bashut. And what was going to be a goal.
Leave it on. Play on.
So Russell.
Hold there, Adam.
Just over-exuberant by Nahas. Just couldn't get his body in the road there. First fly by Murphy.
Post. They've almost got a free kick. Tui to Murphy. Surrounded by Tigers. Does brilliantly. Quick hands to Scotland. A little chip along the line. It's taken by Simpson, who's been busy as well. He's up to 9 possessions now, Simpson. Out against the boundary line, sends it down towards half forward. Garlett lurking behind. Mark is taken there by White. I mentioned Garlett, I hope I did. He kicks and misses.
Got to get the goal, but I think Carlton have to be much more determined to try and bring the ball back inside. They've got to at least look to see if there's an option on. They're just getting stuck going down the line almost every time.
Well, both sides are kicking it long to a contest, but no one's really, apart from Wade on that occasion, no one's really exerting themselves in a contested pack mark situation.
I would suggest, though, if you're marking Garlett and you leave him to fly from behind, you better influence the contest and knock it forward. The ball goes towards the outer side. Tuck lays it off to Ellis. Ellis goes with the left boot. Hugs the boundary line. Power does well. Destroys from behind and gets it out of bounds.
So suddenly goals have been hard to get, haven't they? We had quite a few in the first half of the opening term, and now a string of behinds. Contested possessions, the buzzword obviously in footy these days, and the Blues have had the better against Richmond in recent battles. Tui got it from Judd. Long ball over the top, and it'll be a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, it's interesting that contested possessions, I think it's just been discovered or something that you've got to win the footy to win premierships. I thought it's been going on for about 100 years, Dennis.
Brendan McCartney, as assistant coach, said, see it, get it. And that was about as simple as it gets.
Murphy. Rance. To Hooley. To Post. And then Post controls the kick to Marrick. Now Marrick run out over the line and a boundary throw-in. From Tui. It's the Tiger forward line.
All pushing up. Half-ground game.
Carrazzo emerges with the football. Well done. Kicks from the 50. Long towards the kick-off line. Waite creates his own space, but the ball runs out of bounds. I'm with you, Lee. I mean, call it what you like. That's what the game was built on, surely.
It's not a recent discovery, surely.
No, it's one of the few games in the world where at some stage you're not guaranteed possession of the pill. So it's rather important. Cruiser knocks it down, bets the snap, and he misses.
Just hanging on here, the Tigers. You saw the forward line before where they have no one there. They're flooding right back, almost just to hold sway. Be interesting to see with this kick out where they try to maintain possession and control the tempo of the game.
5 behinds to Carlton this quarter, which has left Richmond off the hook.
So Newman miscues. Eventually controls the footy and goes to Tuck. Tuck, who fought his way back into this side late last year through sheer performance, weight of stats. Martin goes down beyond the wing, taken by Edwards, wheels around, no real pressure, kicks inside the forward 50, and that's a very good mark. That ball was moving like space junk, and Laidler able to get his mitts on it and did very well. He comes across the ground. Well, punctuating 2 terrible sloppy efforts for the mark was Laidler's good mark. Eventually, Carlton went down towards their half-forward line from Tui. Hooley gives it across to support. The short one from Deledio. Hasn't seen a lot of the football. Now Miller sizes it up very well. Marrick dropped the mark. Goes back after it, so about 4 missed marks and Laidlers in the space of the last 5 attempts. There goes the kick from Marrick. Stopped on the goal line. Carlton had the footy surrounded.
Scotland did well. And then Laidler trying to get as far as he can. Deledio starting to get busy now, Deledio.
Vickery.
if you're going to kick it out blind, you've got to be blind and very wide.
And he goes to a hot spot, to Vickery, then Tuck, back to Deledio, and then Deledio to Nahas, so he spent it a bit. So Merrick and Nahas both drop marks inside the 50. Deledio, third time in this passage of play, to Yaron, and Carlton get away, and that's a good kick by Yaron down the line. So the last 9 scoring shots, deliberate, is it? So the last 9 scoring shots, 7 behinds for the Blues and 2 for Richmond. 21 minutes since we've had a goal.
Kick down towards the attacking 50. Saw the replay of Yaron's. He's such a skillful player. You've got to suggest he knew what he was doing. Carranzo taken high, and he'll get the free kick.
I think he knew that as soon as the ball bounced, it was going to take the left-hand turn. It was great skill. But still a little unlucky to get pinged for that, I reckon.
Carranzo back to Bauer. Yeah, certainly. Pay the price for being skillful. It's a big call by the umps, but I think umpire Farmer got it right. Henderson got it wrong. Tackle by Rebolt. Down he goes. Jack's going to get a free kick. He told his teammate Greg, don't take the advantage. Greg was off. He was blinded by glory there, Greg. But Rebolt put the hand up and said, stop. It was close enough to be heard.
I think we saw it before when Post tried to take the tackle on and got pinged. Well,
that's the perfect tackle there, where you've got the hips and then just pin that one arm.
Got to know your agility level, though, if you're going to try and take on the tackle. I don't think Henderson's got that.
Got 6 in the corresponding game last season. Michael Jamison didn't play. Well, he's not there again tonight. But so far, Revolt has exactly the same number of goals as I do, but not anymore. He puts it through.
The other thing, the good tackle, but he's a right-handed, right-footed player, Henderson. If you're trying to get sort of away on the right side, you got some chance, but he came back right side in, was always going to get pinged.
So Revolt on the board as far as goals are concerned. Tigers get back the lead. Murphy held up by Foley.
Fine. Thanks, Mark.
5 disposals for Murphy so far, so quiet night for him.
Give me some room behind.
He's a hard man to keep down for 4 quarters. Cochin was the third man up. Scotland held up by Foley, who's been busy.
Hold his arms.
Foley, just the 4 games, a couple of seasons back, played every game last year.
Had a great game playing for Victoria. He was a really grunt, one of the best midfielders going around. Important acquisition, if you like, for the Tigers.
Murphy's little give, didn't really get it past Garlett. Judd getting on to the end of it, held up by Newman. Judd well done with body strength through the hips to Betts, and then Betts goes back to Yaron, who'd love a goal from half-back. From his mate too. Betts to Yaron, bang goal.
Clean play there by Betts, and it was just young Morris. Sorry, I was going to say Ellis. Young Morris just trailed his direct opponent up behind the ball.
Sheer joy for Yaron. Vickery out of the middle. Kicks it straight into Hampson. Ricochets across to Simpson, who's been very good. Probing kick inside the forward 50. Cruiser knocked it away from post. Betts can get his own goal now. Goes in and pops it through. Makes one and kicks one.
Again, two centre bounce clearances, and then a really good goal. Geez, he's snippy at ground level, Betts and Garland. The two of them are great pairing. Cruz was the one who kept the ball alive once it got deep. but just the speed. And Morris was on his tail. Was Morris, wasn't it?
Yep.
On his tail, but gee, he can't make up ground on Betts.
Just getting right back on top of the clearances here at the moment. Cochin's had a quietish second quarter. I think it's 2-7. In fact, I know it's 2-7 in favour of Carlton this quarter, and that was the area of the game which Richmond really excelled at in the first. So Damien Hardwick would be looking for his leaders to get their hands on the footy in the middle of the ground right now.
So for the first time tonight, Carlton get a little bit of breathing space. And kicking a bit in front. Robinson. Jackson held his ground. So Jackson backing board to tuck. Delidio running hard. Probing kick, but all Carlton's way. Laidler read it really well. A fine pick-up he's been, Laidler. Just a couple of games for Geelong over a couple of seasons. Such a hard team to break through, obviously. But he was a revelation like Dygan last year. Stiffened up that defence. So Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say poor kick, but it actually got over the top. Yeah, it probably was. Hampson to Curnow, quickly to full forward. Hurley couldn't take the mark. Oh, and then Betts in danger, I think.
Danger. Likely to cause injury, Eddie.
Rance was pretty brave there.
Play on.
Good call from the ump.
Always is Rance. Comes out wide, finds Vickery. Vickery, that's very short, barely to 15. Delidio. So the margin out to 8 now. Past midway in the second term. Delidio kicks beyond the wing. Marrick, good mark. Slips it away to Marrick. Commentator's nightmare. Down goes Tuck. Taken by Foley. Slung Judd out. Judd quickly onto Simpson. They've taken the advantage, and why not? There's 4 of them storming down the ground, but this was option 4. Hampson with the loose ball bends over, tackled immediately. Trying to force his way out of there was Newman. Spills to Simpson. Taken by Tuck. Ball again free. Marriage slickly done. Gave it to Rance. Hurried kick. Headed for the chest of Miller. But the crumb is taken by Marrick. He'll run inside the 50. Closing is Yaron. Getting back is Henderson. And this one goes the wrong side of the fat bit.
Good chase there also from Yaron. Putting the pressure on. Marrick just caught in 2 minds as to which way to go. Goals or his teammate.
He's had a messy night, Marrick, hasn't he? Just a few things haven't went. Gee, Yaron closed magnificently, didn't he?
You can be lucky or unlucky depending on who the chaser is, can't you? He's the last bloke you want chasing Yaron. He's real quick.
And he was wanting to draw the play, so Revolt over the top, and it just didn't happen. So Tigers miss a chance, and they're going to have to take them, you feel. Carlton are starting to get on top. Thornton gets it from Waite. So Thornton, with that casual-looking kicking style, and that one cut off from Rance. It's a good interpreter. Just it's a poor handball, actually. They're in trouble. Betts to Simpson. I'll get back to what I was going to say, because Simpson kicks the goal, and Carlton get the break now.
Just the flow of the game going with the Blues at the moment. Just see some really fundamental basic mistakes. That was Hooley on that occasion from the Tigers inside the defensive 50, and it goes without saying, you make a mistake there and the good sides will punish you every time.
Damien Hardwick taking that one hard. Cochin out of the middle. That was the attacking 50. Well worked by Thornton to Yaron. The momentum certainly with the Blues right now. Comes to Armfield. The long one is Simpson. Has he spotted him? I think he has. Simpson comes to him now and takes the mark. Just forward of the wing. Robinson on for the short one. Thought about it. Needs someone just inside the 50. Well, he goes back to Tui, so the Tigers with a chance to get a lot of players back. But it opens up on the opposite side. Thornton gives the ball to Henderson, you were saying, Lee?
That's what you got to do. They've just got to keep going there, because they'll outrun Richmond easily if they can spread the footy.
Carrazzo, 70 metres from goal, pinpoints it, or tried to. Intended for Betts, coming across with great courage was Bashahuli. And he's been paid the free kick.
That's twice. He's positioned himself exceptionally well as a loose man, Hooley.
Blues would be disappointed with that lot.
That was Hooley's first kick tonight. He's an important playmaker off half-back. Martin runs hard and kicks the ball. Revolt goes early. Well done in the front, though. Thornton had to stretch from the front. Not easy to do, and he did a really good job against Jumping Jack.
Played it well. The really best defenders play defence as if the ball's being kicked to them, and Thornton read the cues early, got himself in position, front position, took the mark.
Henderson, careful kick. Has he got enough on it? He has, to Cruiser. So mobile Cruiser, and that one not a great kick, and that's out on the fall.
Good work by Carlton. Murphy and Judd have still only had a couple of kicks each, and they're their most penetrating players if they can run and carry and kick, so they've done a good job to get 13 points clear.
Just defensive errors have been so vital at both ends tonight, haven't
fumbles.
Rance, who was involved in the previous one, I was going to say about him, he's a great interceptor, Rance. He reads the play well for a defender. And now a boundary thrown. So the Tigers need a goal before half-time here.
All the way from South Australia. Everything you saw. Wide of the pack. It's taken there by Delidio to Martin. Hurried kick down towards the 50. Lurking in front, Foley. Quick hands, heard the voice, gives it to Martin. Runs a long way as Martin lines up and kicks a beautiful running goal. That could be a lifter. 7 points the difference.
I think it's fair to say we're all really impressed with the way Dustin Martin goes about his footy, but the fact he can go forward and kick goals like this at crunch time, 33 goals last year, shows he is the future of the Richmond Football Club.
Gee, that was a real powerful bit of running, wasn't it? A great finish. Judd gets it to Armfield. They were involved in the same deal to get to Carlton. Rance, hands and knees, and then he bends his back. He's such a good athlete, isn't he? Kicks the ball as far as he possibly can. Tui, or should have taken it. Could be costly. Edwards trying to get someone to come towards him. Has he got enough on it? Too much in the end. But Richmond having a good little patch here. Chris Judd talking to Lee Matthews at halftime, looking forward to that. And a huge night here tomorrow night. Possible to think we'll get more tomorrow night, but ticket sales suggest it could be up to 90,000 when Collingwood play Hawthorn on Friday night football. But this is the Thursday night big game. Edwards held up. Revolt falls over, doesn't get the free kick. Delidio tries to get the ball out. Judd, gee, held up well through the hips there, didn't he? Scotland's handball to Murphy, and then Murphy, good squeeze, he won out wide and gets to Russell.
Russell just lobs it over the top. Murphy runs on. Carries the ball outside the 50 towards the wing. Coming up, a terrific mark is taken by Waite.
Nothing ahead of him here, all Richmond players, so he has to just wait until his Carlton teammates might be able to push up to give him something to kick to.
Lyon's the call. Waite does exactly that, then kicks towards half forward. Bets the flyer. Running in front is Curnow. Gets free, drops it on the boot. It scrambles inside the forward 50 on a collision course. Simpson came up, put his man Grimes to ground, and now Armfield, the beneficiary, open goal gets it.
Remember Brett Ratton talked about the young defenders for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Then just couldn't hold the ball in post, could he? Just had to hang on.
They've certainly got him this quarter. The ball's gone in pretty quick. That was just a sloppy kick forward, but the Richmond defence, just looks a little shaky at this point in time.
Gee, what a bonus. Armfield, 2 goals. I mean, he kicked 9 in his career before tonight in 60-odd games. Only once more than a single goal. Deledio. So the Tigers need to get one back. Murphy did really well, bashed and crashed. Foley, Ellis kept his head down. Now he's in a bit of trouble. Garland and Gibbs trying to fossing it out with Judd. Ball still not quite clear. Handball out to Simpson. Great tackle on Simpson though. Ball still in dispute. At half forward, free kick.
Tackle, Richmond.
And Post gets the free.
Ball now. 50 metres. 50 metres. Because you delayed him throwing it back. 50 metres.
So,
straight back.
We're not just the umpiring interpretation. If you fall on the footy, it's a free kick. We just don't see those pack situations evolve too much because the player on the bottom of the pack so determined to get it clear.
So some tension relief with that 50-metre.
Post lobs a very high ball inside the 50. Vickery came down hard, taken by Yaron. Remember the right boot. Wonderful hand pass from Gibbs, well, sort of. Eventually, Tuck gets the footy, though. Comes to Hooley. Hooley slips it across towards Grigg. Grigg turns around and sends a high ball down towards full forward. Over the top, Hampson. Lurking in front, Vickery. Hampson follows up. Well, not sure who that was. I think it was Marrick who was upended. Kick didn't go very far. Taken by Laidler. Recognised his boots. It comes down towards the half-back flank for Carlton. Scotland was in there. Gibbs did well. Trying to be tricky was Betts. Now, that would have been something. And the ball goes out of bounds. Eddie with those low-cast shorts. A nod to the rappers that he's so fond of.
Yeah, I think they call him 5 cent, not 50 cent, but...
Fitty.
Carlton free kick. Put the ball on the ground, just let it go. Now.
So you heard the interpretation. Curnow.
Play on.
So Carlton have done really well here. They've kicked 7 of the last 9... No, that's not quite right, but 6 of the last 9 goals in this match. Simpson, high ball, right to the line here, and Waite went early in a boundary throw-in.
They have been hugging the boundary line, Carlton. I just think as the game wears on and just the defensive pressure drops off marginally, they'll be able to change direction. When the ball is spreading and running, that's the Carlton just look that much quicker.
And as you said, I mean, Murphy and Judd, not massive contributions so far. Judd working hard, trying to get the ball clear. Marrick's just handed it to Cochin. Cochin can't quite get it out of the danger zone. Scotland in the back, surely.
Doing a lot of really good work in close, Judd and Murphy, but if they get clear in space, then they'll cut them up offensively as well.
So the margin 13 points. Time for a late goal either way. If Carlton get it, Tigers in trouble at the major break. This is Bauer. And they're using up the clock right here. Curnow. They're grouping just outside range. Yaron tries to pick his way through, lurking at the back. Here's a chance for Garlett. Garlett snaps! Oh, that's a beauty. How clinical was that? He's got his first goal. They got it to the man they wanted to carry the football and kick it. That was Yaron. He put it to position A. And there's that man lurking behind the pack. We spoke of it before. Garlett, wonderful goal.
One of the things, as you said, Dennis, when Jaron gets the ball, you know he's a good user, and Betts makes himself available. Really, Garlett has just followed Betts out, and the ball's come over the top. But that is just a great finish. About half a step to get balanced. Just a beautiful conversion. They're a great little pair, those two. So you'd be nervous as a small defender playing on Garlett and Betts.
I can remember the statue kicking a few of those too.
Lee, 98 goals between them last year, those two.
Yeah, no, good. And the forward pressure they create on the way out, they've been so valuable for Carlton.
So the Blues get that goal that Dennis talked about that could have been so crucial from Richmond's point of view.
Held his arm.
Just not getting enough, Richmond at half forward at the moment. They need big contributions from Vickery there and Nahas and Marrick. And every time Carlton get the ball inside 50, they look like they're going to score now. So the Tigers kicked the first 2 in the match, and Carlton have kicked 8 of the 11 since. Foley has had a productive first half. Vickery, well done, Laidler, to Russell, to Scotland, and then Scotland to Thornton. So Carlton finish the first half really strongly here. Yaron's goal, a highlight of that second term. So let's go down to Tim, who's got Mark Murphy.
Well, Murphy, a much better second quarter of footy.
Yeah, it was. They come out pretty strong in the first quarter, and we really tackled and worked hard in that second quarter.
The forward pressure was outstanding as well.
Yeah, it was. Everyone's been pressing out really well and getting some tackles and really putting them under pressure.
The first quarter, their midfield looked like it shaded your midfield. Did you feel like you felt back strongly in that second quarter?
Yeah, they were... Cochin obviously was winning a fair bit. I think we did that second quarter and started winning a bit more of the ball.
Good luck in the second half. Carlton leading here by 19 points.
Tonight on the Halftime Show, Chris Judd talks to Lee Matthews about his love of the game, taggers, and his motivation to stay at the top. We also preview tomorrow night's blockbuster between Hawthorn and Collingwood.
What a fantastic night in Melbourne. A really balmy, warmish night. Magnificent crowd here for round one action between Richmond and Carlton, two clubs that have fantastic followings, and many of those people have turned up here tonight. Richmond led for a lot of the first quarter and for bits of the second, but Carlton have pinched a big break at half-time, 55-36. So the Blues, who finished that quarter very strongly, and the Tigers, who made the early running, but have got a fair bit to think about right now. And with Lee Matthews at the half-time show, Lee, Carlton go in with some momentum, don't they?
They do. They just look a little bit quicker, and they're much more dangerous in the forward half than Richmond are at this point in time.
Let's go downstairs, Lee. We go down to Richo and also to Tom Harley. Tom.
Thanks very much, Bruce. It's a fantastic game of football down here, Richo. I think you see both teams defensively pretty good, and as a result, we're seeing them held up and forced to kick the ball long down the line. Yeah. We haven't really seen any great, strong contested marks, but I think it's going to play a part in the second half. So you tailed me up plenty of times on this ground. You've got a tight suit jacket on this time, but what's the best way to actually get to the fall of the ball?
You're spot on, Tommy. There has been a lot of 50-metre kicks down the line tonight. Both teams have held each other up pretty well. As a tall player, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're there for the contest down the line. They haven't been there all the time tonight, and the times that they have, they just haven't timed it properly. The idea is to make sure that while the ball's in the air, you're doing your work early on your opponent, releasing into him, and as the ball's in the air, coming across. The jacket's a bit tight there, Tommy, but it did work. So the idea is to release off your man and to launch at the football with full extension. Otherwise, you're just camped under the ball, and we've seen that a bit, haven't we?
Well, I can say, Bruce, from first-hand, Richo did that to me plenty of times in our career, so he's learning from the best.
Absolutely. I reckon he'd love to be out there tonight. Lee, you caught up with Juddy during the week, didn't you?
Yeah, he's really interesting to talk to because he doesn't give you a stock standard answer.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Chris Judd one-on-one with Lee Matthews. They talk about his passion for footy.
Yeah, look, I think at times it's looked to some people that I'm less passionate about football than others, and I don't think that's accurate at all. And I certainly don't think it's accurate in my behaviours. Do you know what I mean? The amount of time and energy I put into my football career, I think, would be the equal of probably anyone in the competition. But I still really don't define myself as a footballer. I still sort of view myself as a person who plays football and has a lot of other interests as well.
I remember in the middle of your first season, I was coaching the Lions, and we sent Robbie Copeland out to tag you. I think you were playing on the wing in your first year. Now, have you ever had a game where you haven't had an opponent to sign for you since then?
I mean, it's not the same as what it used to be. And often now with the full ground press, you don't really have the same guy tracking you all game. But yeah, it was just something that I got used to, and you know, it's something you have to embrace. And if you're one of those players that really hopes it doesn't happen, you know, you set yourself up for a bit of heartache.
This all left them. How good was that? Heavy traffic, goal.
An external observer, it seems like Collingwood and Carlton seem to be talking premierships in the pre-season. Is that perception or reality?
I can get in front of a camera and talk all sorts of smack, but at the end of the day, it's what you do on the field that counts. And you know, we said from the outset we want to improve on last year. We finished 5th last year, so Blind Freddie could tell you that means finishing 4th or higher. You know, if we're good enough to be in the top 4, then we're not going to sit back and say we've ticked the box, we've done what we needed to this year.
Are you motivated by achievement or fear of failure?
I get motivated by fear, yeah. And I've had discussions on this in the past, and you know, if I thought about what was going to make you run quicker, if you just wanted to run 100 metres and feel good about achieving your time, or if you had a bear chasing you, I certainly think running away from the bear would give you your best time. So I think fear's a good motivating factor. I've sort of probably spent a lot of time since I've got to Carlton worrying about whether or not Carlton would win a premiership, and I think that almost got a little bit unhealthy, and the reality is we either will, and that'll be fantastic, or we won't in my time, and that'll be that. But either way, sitting around worrying about it's not going to, not really conducive to making that task any closer.
Good first of it, Judd. Oh, brilliant gather by the champ. Goes with the left foot. How does he manage this? It's supernatural.
Great chat, Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen his game so far tonight?
Well, he's a footy blue blood, but tonight he's doing the working class stuff. He's in tight. He's only had a couple of kicks. He hasn't got the breakaway going, but he's just got his body in and he's winning clearances and getting it started.
Okay, talking about winning clearances, what about from Richmond's point of view? How have you seen Cochin's game to half-time?
Well, Cochin has been the highest possession. He had 15-odd touches, and he's a beautiful user of the ball. I don't think he's got great penetration in his play because he tends to use it short. A very precise kick, but a very good user of the ball. We saw once when he came forward there, but he mainly tends to kick the ball short. He's not really, they'll carry the ball for 15 metres and then kick it 50. But a good ball getter and a really good user. He actually makes good decisions, but he sort of gets a lot of possessions, but not necessarily the ones that sort of kill you when we're outside.
15 disposals to half-time and 6 clearances, but only 4 in the second quarter and 1, so he'll want to get back to that first quarter form. Let's go down to the ground now. There's a massive game here tomorrow night. It's Hawthorn and Collingwood, and with a preview, Tim Watson. Tim.
Thanks, Macca. A lot to look forward to. We don't want to wish the second half of this game away because there's plenty more football to be played here at the MCG tonight. But tomorrow night we'll be back here again for what is a mouth-watering clash between Hawthorn and Collingwood. The teams are in. Let's just take a look at the new players that will be playing for both sides there. We've got Bauman there for Hawthorn and McCauley, the ruckman, mature age ruckman. Lee probably knows a little bit more about him. He's a mature age rookie. Gunston, we know a lot about Gunston, come across from South Australia. He'll play in the forward line, a promising young player. Let's have a look over the other page at there's Buddy on screen now. Caught up with Buddy about a week ago, and we'll run that interview tomorrow night. He looks in absolutely magnificent pre-season form. He's weighing at the moment about 106 kgs. He's the quickest at Hawthorn, and also there's the thought that they will play him more in the midfield this year, which is going to be a difficult problem for opposition sides to encounter. Collingwood's team, they've got 4 new players: Payne, Magmore, Seedsman, and perhaps the most interesting one is Marty Clark, who is the mature player. We know the Irishman who's come across from Ireland, but now they're going for 2 years. He comes back into that lineup. And of course, Lee and Macca, it is going to be Nathan Buckley's first game as coach tomorrow night. We don't think that he's going to change the game plan too much. In their pre-season form, there are things that you have noticed about the way they've played. Perhaps they've been more attacking. Perhaps they're going to come through the central part of the ground a little bit more. But I think that there will be changes and they will be revealed more in time. But it must be a nervous time for Bucks. We know he's been part of that succession plan for a couple of years. Tomorrow night he gets his chance at the real stuff.
And Lee, no Hodge for Hawthorn, which is a huge out, isn't it?
That was a last-minute out. No one expected that, so they'll miss him.
Absolutely. And would you like to, where do you want to see Franklin play? I mean, Tim talked about maybe up the ground, but where do you want him to play?
They're just forward half players now. I mean, no one plays in front of the goal square. I mean, you just play forward half, push up into the middle of the field and then run on the way back. And Franklin does that better than any forward I've ever seen, I would think.
And Tim, a lot talked about Hawthorn losing the prelim final, but what about Collingwood? They lost the grand final last year.
Well, that's really been overlooked, Macca, because we've heard so much and read so much about Hawthorn and the pain they suffered after that prelim loss to Collingwood. But of course, Collingwood are coming off a grand final loss, and we know how that has led to sides and their performance the following year after that disappointment. So both sides have got plenty to play for tomorrow night. It is going to be an absolute beauty, this game. I think there's only about 2,000 seats available for this game tomorrow night. So we had a massive crowd at the G tonight, another massive crowd back here tomorrow night.
I think Tim's about to catch up with Wayne Campbell, and no real ruckman for Hawthorn.
Well,
no Bailey.
Amazing. McCauley was let go last year by the Lions. He was about 4th in line. 6 months later, his first ruck for the premiership favourite going into round 1. Amazing.
Yeah, I think those odds might tighten up by tomorrow night with Collingwood and Hawthorn. But they're all about tonight. Carlton have got a handy lead at half-time. They lead by 19 points over the Tigers.
Thursday night football. Both sides back on the ground. 20 degrees currently in Melbourne. One more than the margin. 19 points Carlton's way. Tim Watson is with Wayne Campbell.
Wayne
We haven't been blown away, but they got on top in that second quarter. What was the message at half-time?
Just composure with the footy. To me, we're winning it okay, but the uncontested marks through the midfield, they've really dominated. That's what they're good at, so we just need to win the footy and keep it off them, basically.
A lot of turnovers in the back half. What's the message to those players, just about their composure and poise under pressure?
Yeah, we think we're just playing too fast, so we've got the ball in our hands. That means they haven't got it. Don't give it back to them if possible.
What about the three tools at the other end of the ground? Are you happy with their performance in the first half?
I don't think any of our forwards have really troubled them too much. We weren't too bad. We didn't go inside 50 much in the first quarter, but we scored. That second quarter, probably not many of our forwards did what we wanted them to do.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tim.
They had 7 players, 5-6 then. Nathan Foley and Kane Simpson, 15 possessions apiece, lead the way for their respective teams. At quarter time, it was the Tigers by 2 points, but Carlton certainly in the second half of that second term put their stamp on this game. Now it seems that, well, can they get back into it, Richmond? We'll soon find out.
I think one of the really key moves at quarter time was Andrew Carrazzo onto Trent Cotchin. He really nullified not only Cotchin's influence on the game, but provided some real physical presence through the middle of the ground, up to 14 possessions himself, and really getting right on top through the clearances.
Must have been impressed. We've said how through the first half the real gun midfielders, Judd and Murphy for Carlton, haven't been getting on the ball on the outside, but I reckon their bullocking work in tight, like that's the basis of what you've got to do, and they're still valuable players even though they're not really breaking clear into the outside space at the moment.
We see
that's where they got him in the second quarter a bit.
And Simpson on screen is one of those players who relies on the grunt work from Judd. That's a great picture just there. And Bryce Gibbs, obviously, the other one. So they're using the ball. They seem more composed when they've got their hands on the footy.
An early goal would be nice for the Tigers.
And Wayne Campbell said the forwards did what we asked of. Does that mean they weren't positioning where we asked, or they just couldn't find the ball against their Carlton opponents? I was wondering what he was referring to.
I reckon it might have been the latter, but you might be right with the former there, Lee, I reckon.
Gibbs there, 14 possessions. As away we go. Second half on a Thursday night at the MCG. Martin tracks it out towards the wing. Sends a very high one, floating it down towards half forward. Coming up to meet the football, Gibbs crashes into an opponent. Over the football, Edwards, grabbed there by Simpson. Another possession down towards half forward. Coming through was Grimes. Met in the opposite direction by Garlett. Garlett finds his own footy. A little chip into the path of Hampson. And he caught that one. It was more a catch than a mark. The hands got there late. I'd venture to say he caught the front of that football. It's almost through. Cop that. The old drive-by. Cotchin just standing there minding his own business. Now watch this mark again. Maybe I was wrong. Here's Hampson. Right behind him. Kick is on the way. That is perfect. Just what Richmond did not want.
Hampson's pretty happy with that. He learned from the first quarter, and Megan Gale was pretty happy with that also. So really important thing that he's actually clunked the ball, Sean Hampson. He's gone back and kicked the goal to give his Carlton teammates real confidence as a key forward.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
The goal?
As the Blues lead by plenty at the moment. They've really got on top here. 6 of the last 7. Tuck underneath. Curnow. So Tigers got the first 2 goals of this match, and now it's 9 goals to 5.
Thanks, Ed.
Conker, who debuted on this night last year, and Lucas in the wings for their respective teams. Cruiser couldn't quite get it at Deledio. Murphy running hard brilliantly to Betts, and then Betts with a probing kick to centre half forward. Grimes, oh, good grab again by Hampson, and Thornton strolls in, and Carlton lead by 5.
coming straight back.
We see the contest up forward. I think he's a tall man, Hampson. Post might have to try some repositioning, Tom. Just playing from behind. Hampson's too strong from the front pot.
Far too big, far too tall. In that situation, you really need to give yourself some yardage off and launch at the ball with a bit of spring.
Judd out of the middle, but straight onto the chest of Hooley. So 7 goals in the last 20 minutes for Carlton. They were goalless for the previous 27. Rance has had a lot of the football. It's been down his way more and more as this game has gone on. He's pushed in the back. He'll get a free kick. Fought hard for it.
Thanks, Jared. Play on.
Comes across the ground. Foley, who's been terrific, waits for it, marks the defensive side of the centre, lays it into the path of Hooley, sent away on his left foot. He hand passes over the shoulder. Marek about 55 metres out, almost run down. He was affected as he kicked that football, and for Marek that could have almost been a good thing. It's touched across the line. That's cruel, but you know what I mean. He's been off target. That one right on target. Here's Gibbs. 67 to 37. Back across the face of goal. Bauer. Now Thornton. So Hampson has been the live wire up forward so far in this term. Kicked one, instrumental in the other. I suppose technically instrumental in both. Murphy down in front. Hand passes about 10 metres. Armfield running out of space. That was clever. On the bounce to Betts, across to Scotland to Murphy. Why not Murphy? Dangerous in this situation. Having to wait was wait. Coming through was post. Straight back to Armfield. Armfield with the outside of the boot. Into the path of Scotland. Couldn't get the traction. Taken down. Ball jarred loose. Nahas finds a way through. Tackled by Yaron. Bounces outside the 50. Slapped forward by Martin. Falling to the ground. Rance. Taken by Morris. Back to Martin. Martin runs it around the outer side to Tuck to Martin. Martin still going to Delidia. This is good by the Tigers. To Jackson. Needs a kick now. Needs to find a forward. Revolt. Well, terrific defence by Henderson. Came back on him. Cramped him for room. Laidler goes with the outside of the boot. Picked up by Revolt. Socket off the ground by Vickery. Gathered by Laidler. Gave it to Henderson now with Tui. Forward. Gibbs falling to the ground. Slings it out wide. Judd's got it. Bauer comes away, kicks it high towards the wing.
Great call, Dennis. What a passage of play. Some good stuff there. Richmond really built, and then Carlton held them up. Foley, Hurley back inside. Newman, such a good kick. Now Marich wants to give it off. That's what he's been doing all night. Slow ball, but okay. And Martin, such a weapon forward, Martin. 33 goals, as Tom told us earlier. They're big numbers for a midfielder. That was last year.
On the transition there, Henderson got away from Rewald. He should have been able to get on to Martin, but he was concerned about Rewald. We might see it as the ball is flicked forward. He just went back on the Rewald. Easy mark to Martin, 40 metres out.
Just 10 of his 33 were from set shots last year, so most of them on the run. And if they've ever needed a goal in this opening round of this season, this is it. So runs out, improves the angle. That's a great kick. He's kicked 2, Martin.
Okay, so we're live and interactive tonight. We heard Chris Judd say that Mark Murphy's the #1 midfielder at the Blues. He might be playing Captain Modesty there, I reckon, a bit, Lee. What do you think?
I think he is Captain Modesty there, but Murphy is pushing up very close. Wonderful players, both of them.
It was interesting last season, both of them winning big awards. I think from memory, Murphy got the Coaches Award, the MVP, and Judd got the Players Award. As it goes out wide, hit hard was Robinson. Ball jarred out, but he's got to get a free kick. Whichever way it goes, it's nice to have both. Simpson up high takes the mark. Now he was just inside the boundary. That might have been touch and go.
Left footer there. He'll come back, open up the angle. This is no, he's given away.
Goes short. Finds Curnow. So just for the moment, despite that wonderful goal by Martin, The Tigers still in desperate trouble. They can ill afford another goal here to the Blues. 67-43. Ed Kerner runs inside the 50. Kick is on the way. It's trying to work back, but it's offline and through for a minor score. Increases the lead. It's out to 25 now.
He's done well tonight, Kerner. He debuted in this match last year. His first game was against the Tigers in round 1. Got injured through the season and then lost his momentum. That's a dangerous kick. Cut off by Robinson. Revolt was the target, but there were 3 Blues between Revolt and the ball as it was carrying forward. Robinson.
That's a poor kick in. I mean, really, there was too many Carlton players near. Rewold was the target, but too easy to intercept.
Follow with him, go with him.
Had an extension of his contract during the week as well. Been a lot of it in the last 7 days. And can he bang it back over the head? Well, he's got the distance. Tim, what have you got for us down there?
Just to highlight that problem that they're having up forward at the moment. They've only taken one mark, Richmond, inside their attacking 50. Miller took that one very early in the game. It was in the first minute of play. Revolt yet to take a mark inside 50. Vickery yet to take a mark inside 50. And the other problem to that is the ball's been swept away by the Carlton midfielders, so they're getting a great counter-attack because the ball's just not sticking at that part of the ground.
And interestingly, Vickery and Revolt between them took more marks inside the forward 50 than any other duo last year.
Haven't done it tonight. The year is young. Carrazzo. His career high is 44 against the Tigers. Not a bad stopper to have. And he certainly quietened Cochin as the kick goes inside the forward 50. Oh, Cruiser! Well, they've locked it in there, and this could be the old 8-point play.
This is exactly what Richo was talking about at half-time. He's come away from where the ball drop is. He's done his work off the ball, got to the highest point. You just see him coming out of screen, so he's pushed, I think it's posted at that time, got to the point of drop, taken at the highest point. Textbook.
20 seconds gone.
So Cruiser. Accuracy the only problem here. He kicks from about 30, works it back beautifully, and through it goes. Alarm bell sounding for the Tigers right now.
That situation where, as Tom mentioned, Cruiser was able to jump at the footy. I think Marrick, he might have been playing ruck. Marrick was a direct opponent, but he just lost body contact.
So Carlton get back that 5-goal buffer. 8 goals 2 to 2 goals 2 in the last half hour. So Carlton going through some domination and some accuracy after they'd kicked 7 consecutive points. Carrazzo. It's an ambitious handball as it turned out. Foley through the heart of the centre square, but not a great kick. And Henderson to Armfield has been really good. Armfield. Gibbs so neat, isn't he? And that's a lovely kick to his captain, Judd.
2-on-1 deep in, or 3-on-2.
Yeah.
Still Cochin no disposals in this quarter, so the midfield of Carlton are getting right on top here. Armfield's been busy. A couple of goals.
Crazzo's been the most valuable player on the ground, I think, tonight.
Armfield just sets it up and then asks a big question of Rance, and Garlett tries to take advantage. Tigers put the clamps on him for the moment. Garlett had it, dropped it down on the ground. It was clever in the end. Carrazzo, Garlett had a bit of an airy. Betts still couldn't quite get through. Quick handball inside, back to Betts. Betts tackled, or high tackle on Carrazzo. Not given. Richmond built the ball out. Don't get it all that far. Gibbs, Henderson, and that's a waste.
Where is it?
Not clever.
No. Now Carrazzo has done a wonderful job. He should have got a free right here. But arm high initially and then sliding it back down. Quick thinking by the man who was doing the tackling, but it was a kick. So Carrazzo went to Cochin when Cochin was hot at quarter time and had 11 possessions. Right now Cochin's got 16 and Carrazzo has 17 and he's right amongst it. Here's Jackson, just pops it to space inside the 50. Leading back is Bauer, goes to Miller, tackled by Bauer who was waiting for him close to the boundary line. Edwards, he looks back towards the middle. What a beautiful kick. Finds Greg.
When that ball bounces in the back 50 and the defender are going to bounce back into Bauer's arms or bounce back over his head. That was that was good creativity just to look inside, set up this set shot at goal from straight in front.
So Greg, who's kicked one tonight, has never been a multiple goal scorer in his career. That all changes with one kick. He's got 2 for the night. Carlton still big leaders.
Well, the Tigers are first to make a move. There's Reece Conker on screen now. They're looking for some more run. He has replaced Shane Tuck. He is the man there sitting on the bench wearing the most unwanted bit of AFL apparel.
I think that's a sign. I mean, Tuck's obviously a really good clearance player, but he hasn't done so well in that area tonight. He's had only 1 kick, 14 handballs, but yeah, they need to change the type of player in there.
They've kicked 2 of the last 3, the Tigers, so just starting to get the scoreboard maybe ticking. Judd swept on a couple of fumbles, gets to Sito. Well done, Morris. He's had a pretty tough baptism, Morris, but that will please him. Martin, such a combative player, Martin. Delidio, big numbers to half-time. Long kick to half-forward, free kick. So Cochin pushes forward here. 11 disposals to quarter time. 16 for the match so far. And again, an important kick. He's in the Martin area, isn't he? Just where Martin kicked that goal.
Yeah, Martin kicked it into the second row of the stand. I'm not sure where Cochin's penetration. Let's see how it is.
So the 2 young champs, Cochin and Martin, one after the other, and they deliver. So 3 of the last 4 goals for the Tigers here.
Just see the push in the back there from Ruslan Cochin. Lee,
it's unnecessary, isn't it, really, that kind of free?
20 points, next goal huge. What do the Tigers need to do?
Well, they need to win the centre clearance, or the turnover off halfback created the goal, so they just need to get some bounce forward.
Marich did well, knocked it down to Martin, kicks towards half forward. Judd with other ideas though, did nicely back to Gibbs to Tui. Tui hand passes forward to Murphy. Murphy looks down towards centre half forward, nothing much on, decides to kick inside the 50, going for a short lead. You know what I mean? It was Betts, off hands, taken there by Ellis, slips a hand pass away, Conker just on the ground, gives it across to Hooley. Hooley the high ball beyond the wing, reaching over the top Henderson, and he's able to angle the fist away and get it out of bounds. Well, certainly wasn't the best option, Eddie Betts, but Betts the hardest worker. They're back already. The Tigers don't need them, not goals, but goals is what they want.
Carrazzo, a bit of an up and under. They want Hooley kicking the footy, don't they? Hasn't had a lot of kicks tonight.
Well, one of the things when they do get forward, Tom, they need Rewald to start winning a contest or 2. At the moment, Henderson's just really got him in those one-on-one contests.
Ball to half forward and lead. The irony of that, no Jamison, of course. Nahas floats the ball. Almost Jackson. Cochin for a second, he does. They're coming, the Tigers, closing the gap.
putting some class into the forward line. I think that's a great decision there by Damien Hardwick to release Cochin off Carrazzo. Carrazzo actually took some time to have a bit of a spell on the bench, but there's going to have to come a point in time, Lee, where they inject Cochin back in the midfield. Get close enough, put him back in.
Oh, yeah, eventually. But, I mean, really, they just need to get that scoreboard ticking over in their forward 50. Martin's kicked his couple of goals. You know, he's kicked 33 goals last year, Martin. You think he's capable of kicking a 40 or 50 as that on-ball forward. And Cochin has gone deep. They might have to change their matchups down there. Russell, he just looks a bit slippery for Russell. I mean, he got the free kick first one, but just read it better off hands.
So the Tigers' best and fairest winner striking. 2 goals, 2 of the last 3, and those last 3 from their last 3 inside 50s for Richmond. The kick down towards half forward. Missed there by the Carlton defence. It was Gibbs who put the ball on the deck. Now Nahas has got it after the Tui hand pass. Comes to Marek. Nicely done. He did it. Tim Watson gives it across to Cochin. Cochin, the high ball. They come from all directions. Well, Carlton failed to come. Vickery failed to mark. Now Yaron's away. Runs it up towards half-back. Run down from behind. Conker gets the spill. That was a great chase by Delidio, who's in the action again as the kick comes back there from, I think it was Hooley. Meantime, Carlton work it out of defence. Hand pass came from Cruiser to Murphy. End-to-end stuff. Thornton gets in behind the defence and takes the mark about 40 metres out. Betts is on for the short one, but Thornton, I think, thinks he can kick it.
I did see that, didn't I? I think Murphy unloaded with a running torpedo punt to get the ball over the top of the Richmond zone. Really, really successful.
You reckon that's not a big part of the game? 14 points, got the ball almost uncontested, go back, kick a goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to take your chances.
So Thornton to make it 20. Directly in front. And this one is Hawking. It's another poster. Flush. That's his second. Margin 15. And a bit of luck for the Tigers.
I just feel like Vickery and Revolt have got to do something in the last quarter and a bit here. A lot talked about the fact that Carlton were down on those big defenders. Again, a torpedo. Does that get out of the danger zone? That's a poor result again. So Carlton marked 2 of the kick-ins so far in this third quarter. Cruiser kicks the ball back towards Betts. Free kick rounds.
Free kick.
He was off, but
just settle. Heard Wayne Campbell talk about a bit of poise from the Tigers.
So in Newman's hands, he kicks to a contest. Jackson and Scotland. Cochin having a good burst. Was he in the back? Ball comes out. Carrazzo gets it out. Armfield just bent the back, found some space. Hampson, big fly. Ball goes to ground. Free kick.
The contest. Richmond, Alex Rance. You got nowhere near the ball, Sean.
One thing we tend to know as the game goes on in round 1, fatigue really sets in. We usually see as it starts to which side can just kind of find a bit when they get really tired. The last quarters of round 1 seem to be almost the players look the most fatigued they'll ever look all year.
So Rance to Grimes.
Grimes then out of defence. I'll compete short of the wing. Cruiser having a purple patch, almost the mark, had been pushed in the back. Well worked. Laidler gave it to Scotland. Now Murphy has it. Draws a couple to him. Goes over the top to Robinson. Doesn't look. Just throws it on the boot. Awkward one for Hampson. Leading back is Rance, and he's content to let it run out of bounds.
Well, to that point, Lee, I think everyone would acknowledge that Richmond probably had the more consistent pre-season in terms of their star players. So the coaching staff would certainly be hoping that translate to a fourth quarter performance.
Saw Cochin taking a break. He's been a star, the catalyst in this revival. Simpson feeds it back. Murphy, like a cat, falling to the ground, gave a hand pass off. Garlett goes back to Scotland, measures the kick. Juggled attempt there by Hampson, couldn't hang on. On his knees, Grimes gave it to Morris, across to Grigg. Clears the zone, short of the wing. Ricochets off Russell, leads in the race. Clever push there by Miller. Won the football, missed the target. Down goes Jackson, can't afford to do that. Cruiser knocks it goalward in the opposite direction. Foley did brilliantly. Fitted out to Delidio, gets it back from Morris. He's at left half back, it's smothered off the boot. Ricochets across towards Murphy. Great work by Simpson, comes to Judd. Centering kick, Thornton. Plays on. Not sure he should have. Gibbs spots Betts, and Betts has taken the mark.
Great kick by Judd.
Yeah, just he knew which side he had to kick it. Just let Thornton drift into it.
Betts needs a goal, and needs braces. He's about 35 metres out. Gibbs thought his way through this. The lesser player would have panicked in that situation and maybe taken a shot at goal. Betts, the beneficiary, comes in. Can they put them to the sword? Not quite. It's another behind to Carlton. So the Tigers still there or thereabouts.
Again, it was just some shakiness. You know, Morris didn't have to handle back to Deledio a moment ago. He put Deledio under the pump. So they dodge one a bit there. Again, the Tigers going long, straight down the centre. First mark for Jack tonight. Jackson, who's been really good. Cochin, we talked a lot about. Tigers with a chance. If Marriage get the right bounce, he'll need it and then get rid of it in a hurry. Gets rid of his man. Oh, don't tell me. No, yes, no. Didn't tell me anything.
There's going to be a lot of things in flight. Could have been a goal or behind and out of bounds and eventually it's a mark.
Unfortunately, you keep thinking about who kicks the ball at the time, don't you? Anyway, it missed the lot, but Richmond fans were thinking that his first goal in a Tiger suit could have been something. Robinson, they've worked this well. Murphy starting to get some space. Not a good kick, though.
Intended for Judd, couldn't make the contest. He slipped over, but it was always Deledio's. Takes on the man on the mark, Waite. Slips a hand pass away. This is Conker from about 60 metres long down towards the forward pocket. Going back is Grigg, had it knocked away. Revolt shrugs a tackle, well done. Comes around you, back in from here. Revolt snaps and puts it through. He's got two.
Yes, I think the Richmond fans will be looking at that great execution by Rewald. The Carlton fans and the coaching staff will be looking at the missed tackle from Wish Aaron. I mean, he had him cold on the boundary line. Admittedly, he's got a bit more size, Rewald, but shrugged the tackle, then it was just a question of a really good finish.
Here's the turnover there, Lee. We asked you about 10 minutes ago what they need to do, and it's take the ball off the opposition and punish going forward.
I think that's given it back to the opposition.
They'll take it. And this is what I love about Jack Rewald. They've now kicked 5 of the last 6. He was always going to have a shot there. It's like, I'm the main man, I'm the forward, this is my responsibility for my football club. Bain gets the goal.
Well, they're young champions. Cochin, Revolt and Martin have made a difference. It was 32 points 14 minutes ago. Now we're back to 10. And a lot of centre clearances for Richmond in that time. Can they get another? Almost. Conker went to the back of Cochin's head. Jackson hacks it forward. Revolt, brilliant pick-up. Poor handball, though. Just went behind Conker. And a ball up.
Just want to see the Tigers players get back to the ball. When you make a mistake, that's okay, but get back. When you look at the screen, you want to see an outnumber of Richmond's players. That's what Damien Hardwick would be looking for.
It's been an admirable fight back here because this match you felt...
Yeah, they're getting clear, Carlton. They've done well, Richmond.
Miller just won the tap. Conker, head down, no free. Simpson belts him out of it. Carazzo, Jim Morris did well across the face, so did Carazzo. And that ball's in dispute, it'll be a ball up. One goal either way here is massive in the context of this match.
See the contested possessions. That's for the quarter. For the fast 10 minutes, it's 25-10, so the Tigers getting right on top.
Exhilarating comeback by the Tigers. Armfield didn't have the football. Judd, well, can't call that an advantage. Cochin tied him up as he gathered the footy.
Wait, let's clear it. Dennis, wait.
Hampson.
Where you are, mate?
It was a Tui. It's Hampson, the big guy. Slow to get up. Carlton really have to find something here. Lee made a real valid point about fatigue. Now, if you're a gambling man, despite the fact that Carlton are on top, you'd have to say they don't mind Richmond from here. The kick inside the forward 50, knocked down by Rance, taken by Carazzo. Carazzo, the hurried kick. Bacon goal square. Robinson missed it. Sockering off the ground. Simpson. That's where it goes for a minor score. Not sure Simpson got a boot to it. Had a half chance.
Oh, that hurts. Hurts him more than most.
So Mitch Robinson, a bit of friendly fire. So back to 11 points here. Half back, Scotland. They've had trouble with those kick-outs, Richmond, in this quarter. Scotland goes back back to Hampson, so it looks like he's recovered. Judd working so hard, brought down in the tackle. Again, a good tackle by Foley, and then Newman and Judd, the two skippers.
Richmond dragged it in.
So right now, the Tigers are going to have the momentum if it stays like this at three-quarter time.
Just hold sway here. You don't want to see a really foolish mistake in the defensive 50 from the Tigers.
And that's been their nervy area all night, hasn't it? Hampson, Vickery, Judd crashes into Karat, so that would have hurt. And then Scotland. So Scotland
in the back. Right the number.
Gets an important free kick here at half-forward right.
Carazzo crashed into that pack. He crashed into the Golden Goose. That's not wise. Big leap down there, Hampson. Or is it Waite? It's Waite who's taken the mark on the head of Alex Rance.
It was just Mark 2 of what Cruiser did about 10 minutes ago. He just had the ability to run and leap to full height. Good jump.
You're real sitting duck as a defender there. What Rance needed to do was get himself out on a bit of an arc and give him an opportunity to launch at the ball exactly like Waite did. But sitting duck.
Waite's on report from early in the game. Hasn't been a factor so far. But a huge kick right here, and he misses to the near side. Been that sort of night, right from the get-go. So the margin 12 points, approaching three-quarter time at the MCG on a Thursday night. Terrific night, terrific game of footy.
So from set shots, the Tigers are 7-2 tonight, and the Blues are 3-8. So Carlton have let Richmond in here. They've had a few set shots in this quarter and missed them. Simpson, high ball close to the line and forced out.
Against Scotland.
It's a free kick, I think.
Against you for push. Yep. No, against you.
It's a funny old game sometimes, isn't it?
Scotland.
I mean, Waite can put a boot in the back and take the mark, but you can't just touch a bloke with your hand in the back. But anyway, what a terrific third quarter. Carlton made the early running, but the Tigers came back, and they came back hard. It's set up for a classic finish. Big crowd. It's 79-67, a 12-point game on Thursday Night Footy.
Big finish brewing on Thursday Night Football. The margin is back to just 12 points right now, 79-67. Carlton on top. Richmond came storming back. I need something of an explanation right here, Richo. A lot of marks up forward for Carlton, but it was the Tigers who made the comeback. Explain.
I will. I'll try to, Den. Look, one thing Richmond didn't do was take marks inside their 50, whereas Carlton took 10 down the other end. Richmond just made the most of their chances, but the big guys got on top in the Carlton forward line. Hampson twice here, playing tall, what we talked about at half-time, using his height and reach to advantage. Cruiser here again, timing his leap to perfection. He's a big man. Jump at the ball. And then the last one here, Jared Waite.
Didn't kick it.
10 marks inside 50 is a huge number. Richmond will have to stop this in the last quarter. Carlton just missed their chances, Dan.
Well, Timmy, I suppose the moral of the story is they'll still be tall and taking marks in the last quarter when everyone else is tired.
That's right, Dennis. A real contrast, too, in the way the sides went about it that quarter. We show you here Tyrone Vickery actually dropping a mark that he should have taken, and that's been a real problem. They rolled the dice coming into this game, the Tigers. They went tall up forward. There's Vickery dropping that mark. They had Vickery there, Revolt, and also Miller. A real change came about, I thought, in that third quarter and you see there at ground level the ball being run away by Yarran. I thought a real changeover came in that quarter when they decided that they could no longer play the three talls in their forward line. They started to go 2 tall, 4 small, and we even saw Miller towards the end of that quarter going into the ruck. Their fortunes, I think, really rely upon that bloke there on screen now. Jack Revolt came into the game a little bit in that quarter, kicked a magnificent goal from the boundary line. If he can get the side up and running this quarter and they can find him in the air, there's still a chance, I think, the Tigers.
It seems to me, Richo, the move that changed things in that term was Damien Hardwick's decision to send Cochin forward.
He did. He kicked those 2 opportunistic goals. That's what you have to do as a midfielder these days. He was getting shut out of the game. He had a good first quarter, but he went forward and kicked goals. That's invaluable as a midfielder. For me, Carlton just look a little bit cleaner all over the ground, and if they keep getting it inside 50, it's going to be tough work for the Tigers.
Blues by 12 points. Thursday night football. Here's Bruce.
Start of the final term, set up for what should be a cracking finish. The Tigers have won the centre clearances 12-9. Carlton get one back through Cruiser, doing the hard work himself, bouncing the ball forward, and then Grimes off the deck and out on the fall.
Jeff's kick.
So, better option, Garlett, not the left foot of Simpson. So a quick thrust forward here by Carlton.
Thank you.
Garlett, first cousin of Buddy Franklin, who'll be on display tomorrow night when the Hawks take on Collingwood. He doesn't mind this pocket as a left footer, Buddy. And then Garlett with a good-looking kick, but just fading and a behind. So they've missed a few, haven't they? They're 3 goals, 9 from set shots tonight, the Blues. That was a toughie, I admit.
It's 3 goals, 7 since half-time.
Newman pops it in. Grew up barracking for the Blues. The Tigers skipper, here's Conker. Got it from Ellis. Conker started as the sub. High draft pick. Now his second season. High ball towards the wing. Cruiser destroys from behind. Taken by Judd. Hand passes out wide. Running out of space is Scotland. And the boundary throw-in. Carlton dominated the first half of that third term. Richmond came storming back. Judd has had a pretty good night. The longer it's gone, the better he's got. Finds the footy, hand passes straight to Newman. Newman loops it over the top. Marich. Over to Cochin. Taken around the outer side by Grigg. A high ball right to the 50. Oh, wonderful carriage by Gibbs. Not only the courage, but the skill. Completed the mark. Changes everything. Comes to Yaron. Yaron thinks about Murphy. Murphy's hanging back. Eventually, he got close enough that Yaron could almost have thrown it to him. Kick inside the 50 from Yaron. Made a couple of poor decisions there. Needed to release the ball quicker as he came down the ground. Rance takes that defensive mark. Goes to Marich. Lures a man towards him. Over the top. Grigg slips a hand pass away. Cochin. Cochin has started in industrious form in this final term. Goes short to Miller. Back to Cochin. Cochin goes long this time. Dropping back down there. Trying to take the mark. Had it knocked away was the Richmond player. It spills to Revolt, who goes into an open goal. Delidio did his job.
Here's the ball coming in long from Cochin. It's actually one-on-one there, and Henderson committed to outnumbering at the contest, which left Jack Revolt free. It was a risky play by both Henderson and Revolt. Revolt got away with it.
So what a night for Revolt. He's taken 1 mark and kicked 3 important goals, though. So building on that night, Delidio pushed forward, belted away by Rance. Cruiser, well done by Cruiser, goes back. Last 28 minutes is 6 goals to 1 goal 7. So 6 straight the Tigers, 1-7 the Blues. Grimes, who kicked it out on the full a moment ago, and that time runs it over the line. His brother, of course, co-captain Jack at Melbourne. My Brother Jack, one of the most famous books in Australian literature history.
Hey.
George Johnston. And then Simpson back inside. Good grab. Taken by Post. Called to go. Gee, this has been a great fight back by Richmond. Laidler went to go early. Miller held his ground pretty well. Laidler. Ball comes out. Revolt has an airy. And then Henderson brought down in the tackle. Oh, good hands by Grigg. Releases the Tigers. Miller punches forward.
Just outside the 50. Punched away by Bauer. Great courage shown by Yaron. Threw himself at the feet there of Nahas. But it's a throw. And it's going to Martin. Carlton a bit stiff there. Yaron did very well.
Thank you. Time back
Justin
on.
Martin, though, with the football. Goes short on the lead. Jackson through his fingertips. Lurking behind is Scotland. Wonderful control by Murphy. Murphy just forward of left half back. Looks back. There's no release valve, so he goes across. Cruiser has it. Carrazzo now. Carrazzo back to Cruiser. Backed him against Cochin. He got boot to ball. Wonderful chase by Cochin. Judd missed the footy. Bowler gets a hand pass to Cochin. Wonderful hands. Flicked it across towards Newman, gives it to Ellis. Ellis kicks down towards the attacking 50. One out contest, this will be interesting. Gibbs corralling Nahas at the moment. Nahas can't get past, does the next best thing. Beautiful skill, onto the chest of Miller. Miller the short one, and the mark is taken by Martin.
Unconventional forward line the Tigers are working at the moment. It seems like they're rotating a Martin or a Cochin or a Delidio, one of their really prime ball movers who know their way around traffic, and it's Martin on this occasion. But just the ball shows you how important it is to use the ball well. This is a great chase here by Cochin. He spent some time forward.
He's had a good first 5 minutes of the quarter, Cochin. He's really got them going.
Smart kick.
Biggest margin of the night, 32 points for the Blues. This to pull it back to just 1. The Tigers are coming. Oh, crikey. Hangs it right out to the right and kicks it behind. Well, they need to lock it in, and they need to level the scores with a goal. The old 7-point play.
Been a long time since they've missed the Tigers tonight. So Tui's long ball. Seen a lot of it tonight, haven't we? Straight down the centre. Delidio, Hurley, normally good. Jackson. So Richmond with the momentum. Jackson's long ball to fall forward. Revolt, huge fly. Well read. Tui just threw it in the end. He didn't mean to, but he lost the handle on it. And it was really a throw, but a boundary throw in.
Just fell out of his hands when he was about to handball, but it just fell clear.
Tim?
Yeah, Kane Lucas is on the ground. He's been activated, and Jordan Russell has been replaced.
Where do you see it from there, Tim? I mean, you feel like the Tigers can overrun them?
No, I don't, Bruce. No, I mean, they're charging, but I still think the Blues are going to have the composure and the poise under pressure.
So Cruiser. Is that high? Well, Conker now tries to get the footy out. Marich, who's been pretty solid, still can't quite get clear. Murphy, well done in heavy traffic. Still that ball in dispute. Revolt trying to impose himself. Well done by Henderson, doesn't get it all that far. Simpson scrubs it. Curnow, still Curnow. Good tackle, Newman. Well played, Curnow. Then Carrazzo has it held up. Delidio gets his hand almost free. Edwards, Curnow. That's about as heavy as you get. That was gridlock in Melbourne at 5 o'clock at night.
Murphy, Carrazzo, that was wonderful. And maybe it was the composure Tim was talking about. They're under real heavy duress there. Garlick to the middle. Simpson now, there's a man on the outer side. He ignores that. And Lucas just on the ground, and perhaps as important a kick as we've seen tonight. The sub.
That sort of set it all the composure, wasn't it? Just to take the ball off half-back, but then they won to go back in the middle to have the courage, I guess, to see the player in the middle, look for him, find him, set it up.
Young man dogged by injury. Just 10 games in 2 seasons. Right behind the kick, and that's true. From East Fremantle, Lucas puts it through. Carlton steady.
There's Jonathan Brown in the stands.
Carlton play Brisbane next. Yeah,
Saturdays.
And Lee Carlton play Brisbane next Thursday night. So he's having a look at the Blues. We'll be there at the Gabba for that traditional Easter Thursday night. So they stretch the margin out a bit. Doesn't a coach just love that when the sub comes on and does something like Lucas did a moment ago? Judd running hard. Handball inside was terrific. Yaron. Still Yaron. Cheeky little bounce. Oh, well done. Runs towards goal. It's a chance. It's as good as you'll ever see. It's Buddy-like, isn't it?
That's taken him on. Yeah, look at the ball. I think the ball is probably totally out of bounds, but just the ability to take it on. He knew if the tackler got to him, he had to just kick it quickly, but backed his pace.
Well, that's the clubhouse leader for goal of the year right there, Chris Yaron. Fantastic stuff. Murphy, Cochin wins the football away from Murphy, kicks it down towards half forward. Carlton with the numbers. Armfield knocks it out. Curnow stood up in the tackle, gives it to Tui. Tui scrubs a kick through midfield. Hooley follows up, got Murphy, but not before he released the ball to Curnow. Curnow goes to Hampson. Getting through is Carrazzo, and he finds his man. Oh, wow. No margin for error there. Betts was coming up. Morris was coming across on the angle. They were on a collision course, and neither man blinked. Although one is limping.
He's a good player, Carrazzo. Cochin has been good pretty much all night, but Carrazzo has tried to take that match up, and he's sort of matched him for possession. So in terms of they've both been very good.
Well, Morris, when you look at that again, it's just lowered the shoulder and look out. Whoa, and he just missed him.
I reckon he got him pretty good.
Well, sort of. I think he intended to get him a little bit better. As they say in 10-pin bowling parlance, it was a difficult split. In comes Betts, and he misses. Oh, Eduardo.
Bit of delayed reaction maybe from Eddie. So 2-3 for him tonight. That just about would have been the ball game, you reckon? Gee, that was a dangerous kick too, but just got to Foley. So Richmond have got to roll the dice here. They've got to score heavily, don't they? They got themselves within a kick. Martin missed one that would have got them within a point.
It's where you look for a player like Brett Delidio, I reckon. I mean, he's the one who can run and carry and break the play up if he can just impose himself on the game for a while.
Marrick's worked under it. He'll get a free. Hands in the back. So Van off the step. He gets a bit of distance down. Miller just holds his ground, almost fell into his hands. Later out, Revolt goes to ground. Henderson held up, couple of tackles. Miller was the second. Armfield's been really good. He's a pesty player if you don't barrack for Carlton. Kicks the ball very well. It's a Garland who shows a bit of magic, and then quickly on its opening here. Waite and Morris. Waite, well done Morris in the end, just implied. I reckon he might have remembered, no, he wouldn't have remembered the bets a moment ago. On the up, Lucas, back to Waite. Waite's little left footer, out in the full. And I think it was out on the full.
I think you're right.
There must be an invisible chink in the line about there, I reckon.
That did look as if it had carried all the way. Let's have a look. Maybe.
It's a bit of stitching.
Oh, Judd, well done.
Yes, Robinson gets through and misses. But momentum has swung. It's wearing navy blue now. How's that for a crowd? More of the same tomorrow night. Ellis to himself. Kicks it well outside the 50. Laidler reaches over the top, gets a fist on it. This one may stay in. Laidler has other ideas, though. Gets across and just escorts it across the line. Midway through the term. 94 plays 74. But it's Carlton who are dominating the footy. Just now, Carrazzo, but it's a free kick against Hampson. Pushing the back to Marriage. And short of the wing. They've got to find something up forward now. Revolt should attract the footy, and the runners perhaps need to get alongside. Cruiser, aware of that, is getting back in Revolt's space. Betts Almost got Marich, who goes in short. The mark is held by Delidio.
Short to Newman. And then Newman. It's a dangerous kick if it doesn't come off. Thornton did well. Bash and crash. Marrick. Handball on the up. Edwards has had a quiet night. Cruiser well played. Such a mobile big guy, isn't he? Back to Cruiser. Don't they love him? To Thornton. Just misses Cruiser. And then running across in front of him, the debutant. Ian Ellis and a boundary throw-in. So no room to move now for the Tigers. And the crowd tonight, look at that, 78,285. It's the fourth biggest ever for a first-round match. We had 3 over 80,000. The record's about 87. So a fantastic response from the Melbourne public.
Armfield has been very good tonight in defence and up forward. He's kicked a couple of goals. Curnow takes the mark. The thing about Armfield, one of those players who really reaches top speed in the first 5 or 6 steps. Short one comes in towards Waite. Couldn't hang on. Goes back after it and applies a high tackle on Conker. Advantage is taken rather reluctantly by a couple of defenders down there. Eventually, the two blondes work it out. Morris got it from Ellis. Kicks it up towards the wing. Revolt. Hands in the back. Free kick to Laidler.
It's been one of their main problems, the Tigers. They've been too predictable for mine in the way they bring the ball out of the back line, just long to a contest. This is actually 3-on-1. There's not much Jack can do, whereas Carlton have used the ball just slightly off the line. They've kicked the ball better tonight and have been more penetrating going forward.
High ball back towards the attacking 50. Cruiser was there. Camped in front was Grigg. Over the football and getting it out was Morris. Intended for Jackson. Stolen away by Curnow. Taken by Simpson. Pulls it back. It bounces very high. It continues down towards full forward. Arriving Lucas slips a hand pass away. It was touched, I think, off the boot. Robinson got boot to ball. Fumbled across the line by Garlett. Garlett stopped. Rance didn't. Got the footy to Morris. Now it's Foley on the overlap. Foley runs outside the defensive 50. High ball, and the mark is taken by Henderson. Just moments ago, Revolt, perhaps the best thing to do in that situation was just stay on the deck. He didn't need a specky, just punch it out of bounds. Here's Scotland.
Running hard and kicking the ball hard to Gibbs. Marrick still with Gibbs, and then Gibbs with a very short one. Finds Murphy within range.
Back to the question about Murphy is the best Carlton midfielder. 46% of viewers thought that.
So Garlett thinking was out and probably was.
46% thought he was better than Judd.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Judd's opened a Pandora's box. He'll have to close that very quickly.
So 4 goals, 10 from the set shots tonight, the Blues. Make it 5-10.
Interesting about those percentages then. Margin 26 Carlton's way. So it seems they've weathered the storm. One of the worst things about being a critic is you've got to do those polls pre-season. I can tell you I've gone for Mark Murphy to win the Brownlow. Means nothing at all, but at the same time, I don't know which way I'm voting now. As a kick goes down from Carrazzo, there's Murphy in front. I'm going with Murphy. Whoops, maybe not. Down he goes. Jackson comes away. Murphy polled Brownlow votes in 12 games last year. 8 ones. Now, had he done slightly differently, probably would have won it. This is Scotland. Into the path of Robinson. Well, he took them on under pressure. Gives it to Lucas, who's had an impact since coming on. Robinson runs on. Kicks inside the forward 50. And Hampson clutches this one about 25 metres out. He's been good tonight, Hampson.
There's probably been a few differences that made Carlton a little bit better, but I guess the fact that Hampson has just been a little bit more dangerous in the air, say, than Vickery has been down the other end, just on tonight's performance.
Has anything life-changing happened to him in the last couple of years, last 18 months?
Don't know him that well, Dennis.
No, neither do I, but Let's see what he does, because he's played terrifically well tonight. And he steers it straight through the middle. It looks like Carlton are home. Hampson's got 2.
Been really impressed tonight with Matthew Cruiser. His ruck work, he's sort of following his second effort around the middle, and then Hampson's marked up forward. They've been a pretty good pairing, those two.
So Judd's quick kick forward. It seems a long time ago Dustin Martin had a shot for goal, doesn't it? And they're 7 points behind. Bangs it in, and he almost got another one. Lee, is here when Warnock comes back. Warnock, Cruiser, Waite, Hampson. Can you fit them all in?
Remember, Walker's not here tonight. Walker's only really the medium size, but he's a really good goal-kicking medium-sized forward. So, and you've got Waite. So rather than 3, Cruiser, Warnock, and Hampson can all be in the same. With Waite and Walker, you start to get a lot of tools.
I reckon it comes down to who can exert themselves physically on the game, and that's what I like about what Hampson does. He brings a real aggression to the contest.
He certainly can break a pack and take a big mark, can't he, Lucas? So the Blues safe now. And the Tigers, after that revival in the third quarter, just falling away for them. Scotland, what a great year he had last year in his 30th year. And now Lucas, so the sub comes on and kicks his second last quarter goal.
Just looking at the scoring shots, 14 more for the Blues inside 50, 61-42. As we touched on before, some big names to come back in. Jamison and Diagon down back. Walker and Warnock obviously as well. So some good problems for Carlton to have in the coming weeks.
Edwards digs it out of the middle. A high floating ball inside the forward 50, and Revolt takes his strong mark. Well, Walker burst on the scene last season rather. 56 goals after being around and almost falling into the category of a journeyman. I think journeyman means you don't want them in your fantasy team, but suddenly he was on fire kicking goals last season. Revolt, of course, has been consistent over the last 2 years, lining up at number 4. Probably short sells the job done by Henderson, but he's got 4 on the night.
Probably doesn't amuse the fans that much, but that's the new configuration of the interchange gate. So really, there shouldn't be interchange infringements, because one side's on, like Richmond on this side, and that yellow sort of box area on the other side's for Carlton. So there shouldn't be any mistakes with that configuration.
So Revolt breaks through the 200 goal barrier tonight. He's kicked 4, he's up to 201. It's been a strange night, just 2 marks for Revolt, but 4 goals, which you would have probably taken at the start of the match. They just haven't had a spread of goal kickers. Scotland held up. Carlton had 11 goal kickers to 6. Jackson, Marrick, still with Marrick. Good kick. So Jack could finish with a handful here.
He's had the 5 tackles as well, so I think I mean, that's been a real positive that he hasn't been clunking the ball. He's been outnumbered, but his effort's been there, you think, Bruce?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But you don't feel like he's been a handful all night for Carlton. You don't think he's been their biggest problem all night?
The thing is with a guy like Rewald, when he gets the ball up the middle of the ground, you sort of don't take much notice of it. It's the shots, the 5th shot he's going to have at goal, or in fact, he's already kicked 4 too, so he's already had 6 shots.
He's normally a very accurate kick from this range, and there you go. Put that on him, so he's missed the 5 opportunity.
If you're Damien Hardwick, Lee, what are the positives for the Tigers tonight, given the pre-season they've had?
Well, I think they're that midfield bunch. I don't reckon Delidio has really been dynamic tonight, but Cochin has certainly been good. Foley's been good again. They've been a solid group, but they've still got beaten by a lot of scoring shots.
Laidler finds Murphy. Now, what about Murphy after the slow start? It's 31 possessions for him. Here's Carrazzo. Takes on Revolt. Chips to midfield. Scotland, as always, very good at distributing the football, and that's no exception. Finds Thornton on the lead. Slips a hand pass back towards Scotland, who missed it. Not entirely his fault. Marek came back to him. An involuntary action, and he's taken down. One of the big game-changing things in this final term was the introduction of Kane Lucas, the sub, 18 minutes ago. Now, prior to that, he'd never kicked a goal in the AFL. He's got 2 right now, and they were timely ones. Really got the distance between the Blues and the pursuing Tigers. On his knees, the ball comes out from Lucas, taken by Robinson, down towards full forward, off hands. Rance is in front. Free kick to post, is it? No, it's going the other way. So Hampson, a chance to score from about 5 metres in front. He's got 2. Interesting talking about Kane Lucas.
Mark's right there.
He can play, the young man. And as I said, just 10 games in 2 seasons, but it's always a good sign when they take your number from 24 to 9 and you haven't played. Hampson comes in and kicks a goal. They know he can play, as this man has proven tonight. Sean Hampson's been a star.
Sean's partner, Megan Garland, what a great night he's had. 3 goals tonight, plunked some great marks. We talked about the tall timber for the Blues, and with Warnock in the wings, Armfield run down, but still gets half a kick away. Carlton getting out to a big margin now before over 78,000. Free kick to Gibbs. Armfield gets the advantage. Carrazzo, so important tonight. That move on to Cochin did have a big impact. Wait, surprisingly not the best of the big forwards tonight for the Blues. Judd's worked into the game. If you didn't look at the scoreboard, Lee, who's had the better of the mid? I mean, has it been the Judd, Murphy, Simpson, or has it been the Cochin?
Well, I mean, the Carrazzo's more than breaking even with Cochin. So Cochin's been good, but Carrazzo's more than breaking even in that position. And Murphy has, kept going and to become probably the most destructive midfielder on the ground. So I think Carlton's been better as a group.
Because so much before this match talked about who would win the midfield battle.
The most pivotal move of the game was Carrazzo onto Cochin.
Yeah, it worked out that way. It must have been early days. We've seen 4 quarters of footy. Richmond looked similar to last year. I mean, they're capable of playing some good footy against the sides above them, but a lot better than tonight is needed if they're going to beat the half reasonable top half teams.
Revolt just got rid of his man. Probably had a bit more time than he realised. Yaron, God, he's got some tricks, hasn't he? He kicked the most magnificent goal tonight. Henderson, that's a clever kick. And Simpson, who's always busy, takes a dive. As I said, 145 consecutive for Simpson, leading the AFL, 99 shy of Jimmy Steins, 244.
Simpson towards the wing, off hands. He's roving the pack now. Hampson sends it back towards midfield. Tui should be too nimble, at least for Marriott. Still going Tui in the opposite direction. Coming through was Delidio. Gave it across to Foley, upended. Chance for Armfield. Murphy onto the loose ball. So much of the football, particularly in the second half. Into the path of Armfield. Goes to Robinson. Robinson 35 metres out and closing, and he puts it through. The exclamation point.
So the Blues win their first match of the year, but it's the important round one. Big win in the end, steaming over the top of Richmond. Last quarter for Carlton. Their second and fourth quarters were huge, weren't they? They just had too many goal kickers. Down to you, Tim.
Well, here with Andrew Carazzo, and well done tonight. Everyone was reading all sorts of things into Carlton's pre-season form. Hadn't won one of those NAB Cup games. Were you confident that it was going to come together on the night?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we didn't win a game, but our form wasn't too bad. We had bad patches against the Kangaroos, but we had probably our best 10 days training we've had in, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and it really showed up. We had brought great intensity and pressure. It was fantastic.
One of the changes in the game was when you went to Koch in that second quarter. What was the plan, and what did you do in that second quarter to him, in the way that he was playing?
It's hard when you play against a midfield that's got 2 or 3 elite players. I had Dustin Martin in the first quarter, and then Cochin was getting out of hand, so just had to change it around and try and get it going in the stoppages. There wasn't too much scientific stuff.
Did you get a good glimpse of Chrissy Yaron's goal?
I did. I was right behind her on the bench, so yeah, look, an early favourite for goal of the year, I reckon.
And Matty Cruiser was in some sparkling form too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's fantastic, Cruz. Last year, everyone knows first year back from a Rico, it's really tough, so I'm just wrapped for him. He's at full strength now, and we can look forward to that sort of performance every week.
Everyone knows you had triplets. You getting any sleep?
I got lots of sleep last night at my mum and dad's house, so I'm very thankful.
Well done. Good luck.
Thanks, Tim.
Cruz is important. He's only played 25 of the last 47 matches for the Blues.
I think he's a very influential player because he's such a hard-working ruckman. I mean, not only is he's okay at the ruck work, but it's more his second effort stuff. He becomes virtually an extra midfielder. So there, I think he's very important in there for Carlton. Now he's back from that injury completely.
They're probably stiff last year, the Blues. I mean, they won enough games to finish top 4 in a normal year. We had all those teams at the top, and they went to Perth, went down by less than a kick with no Gibbs, no Waite, no Cruiser in Perth that night. And they've talked a lot, Lee, about top 4 this year, haven't they?
Oh, no, they should. They finished 5th last year, and I thought they were the team that are most likely to be able to, to challenge the top handful.
And have you been convinced tonight by them?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've got speed and they've got run. Not everything went right for them tonight, but they still won't run, 35 scoring shots for 20.
And the players to come in, Bruce, some really quality players, Warnock, Dygan, Jamison, and Walker, of course, up forward. So as a Blues fan, you'd have to be happy with what they put out tonight.
Good.
And Judd, again, I mean, a really good night, but they're not depending on him to be the absolute main man all the time.
I mean, I almost feel like it's sacrilege to say it, but all of a sudden, Murphy might well be better. Right now, all of a sudden, it might have only just happened at the because Murphy has become an absolute elite player. I mean, we always think of the Judds, Abletts, Swans, Pendleburys, but I think Murphy now is in that category undoubtedly.
You're number 1 draft pick from a fair way back, but 32 disposals tonight. He's just so hard to contain for 4 quarters, isn't he?
I love the balance. I know when you've got Carazzo who can do a job for you, and even Simpson who uses the ball so well. So basically, Judd and Murphy have that brilliant balance between contested possessions and uncontested possessions, and you throw the ball out to a Gibson or Simpson who use the ball so well.
It's one of those matchups, isn't it? I know Carazzo, Brett Ratton said Carazzo's going on to Cochin. You can hardly see it. I mean, it's not as if he's just following him around, body-to-body contact. He might be the direct matchup, but it's hard to actually tell sometimes, though, whether those offensive taggers, who they're actually on, because they're not necessarily establishing body contact.
Speaking of defenders, Michael Jamison's just walked into our room, so he'll be chatting to us after the match. The almost all-Australian fullback, I reckon, last year before he got injured. And then we also have Brett Ratton. We're going to go down into the room. So this is a really solid start for Carlton. They've got Brisbane next week on a Thursday night, and then we've got them again against Collingwood here on the third Friday night of the year. That will be something.
Yeah, no, they're a side. I mean, they've dropped to the bottom of the ladder, the middle of the 2000. They got Judd. He was a magnificent get, and then they got the good draft choices that are all coming through.
And their three number ones, Murphy, Gibbs, Cruiser, been pretty good choices, I think.
They're all playing like number ones, aren't they?
Which is exactly what you want, and I think they've just got that X factor. One of the differences between the Tigers and the Blues tonight was you never really knew what Carlton were going to do. They had the ability to square the ball up. They had the ability to go tall or small, and that's a real strength for Carlton.
And they've got Richmond's number at the moment. They've won 8 straight against them. They haven't lost to Richmond since 2008. And again, Richmond get to that slow start for the year, which they did not want. They haven't won a game in the first 4 rounds of the season for a long time, Richmond. So we're about to get the song. I reckon it'll be Hardy tonight, don't you?
50th game for Mitch Robinson. Brett Kirk was his favourite player. Actually his girlfriend asked him to write him a letter before the season. I'm sure he did that. So kicks a goal on the siren, wins his 50th game. He's pretty happy.
And Henderson's 50th as well. Of course, he started with the Lions. So great start for the Blues. He's a real players coach, isn't he, Rat? I mean, I feel like he's still out there playing sometimes.
I'll tell you one thing, they're only practice games, but you'd like to break your duck before round 1, so there is a little bit of relief, whatever they've said, that they've turned it on when they had to.
One track now.
Yep, Robbo. Get in, Robbo. Get him in there. Ta-da!